Chapter 578. In the past few days, Xiaofan's spiritual fluctuation had always enveloped the Devil Xia region. He was always hoping that the immortals who had descended to this plane would bring him immortal pills and magic treasures. Xiaofan had tasted the sweetness of successfully forging an immortal body with the help of a starry sky-earth attribute magic treasure. This had also greatly increased his expectations. However, after waiting for several days, no immortals had come to the Devil Xia region. This inevitably made Xiaofan feel a little helpless. But today, a total of 7 immortals have entered the Devil Xia region. Xiaofan looked excited. Get ready to welcome them. Jia Lanzi also noticed it immediately. At the same time, whoosh whoosh whoosh, 7 immortals, 5 male and 2 female immortals, entered the Devil Xia region almost at the same time. These 7 people also knew each other. After greeting each other, an extremely shocked expression appeared on their faces. These immortals were completely shocked by the atmosphere of the Devil Xia region. Rainbow butterfly. Immortal bird. Immortal plant. Golden soil with a strong medicinal fragrance. Immortal aura. A strange phenomenon in the sky. The scene of the immortal world? Unbelievable. The Devil Xia region in the mortal world actually showed the scene of the immortal world. Just now, when I suddenly entered this place, I actually had some illusion that I had returned to the immortal world. A white-clothed young man's face was filled with traces of laziness, but now his eyes were protruding, making him look very funny. You Yangzi, don't always have such an exaggerated expression, okay? A girl in colorful clothes with a noble temperament covered her mouth and smiled. Then, she said to a young man in green clothes beside her. My living immortal, senior brother, what do you think of this place? Oh. That's right, big brother Su Huizi, after you descended to this mortal world, you prescribed medicine for mortals in the western border of this plane. You're at the border of the western region of this plane, prescribing medicine for mortals. You've really accumulated virtue and done good deeds. Your merits are immeasurable. Yu Yangzi complimented. I'm just doing some things that I should do, the young man in green clothes said humbly. Then, he slightly frowned. What a strange person. I didn't expect that Xiaofan would actually make the Devil Xia region in the mortal world so prosperous. It already has the glory of the immortal world. Good. Good. I should take this opportunity to pay a visit to Xiaofan. I believe he is a refined man. The scene here doesn't seem like something that Xiaofan could create. This is clearly an environment created by the purest immortal qi. An old and wise young man with white eyebrows and black hair carried a long sword on his back. The sword energy around him was ethereal and ethereal. He smiled. Xiaofan and brother Jia Lan are together. In my opinion, it must be brother Jia Lan who used his supreme immortal power to destroy the demon hero domain. He created the atmosphere of an immortal. TSK, brother Jia Lan is worthy of being the leader of our generation of young immortals. Also, look, the immortal qi here is wrapped up by an invisible force, not leaking at all. This must be brother Jia Lan's trick. Ha ha ha. Back then, when I was with brother Jia Lan, we drank for 7 days and 7 nights, falling drunk in the immortality peach pool. It has been 10 years since we parted. I did not expect that I would be able to meet brother Jia Lan today. Reuniting in this mortal realm, I must drink with brother Jia Lan for 10 days to half a month. Ha 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 ha. Count me in as well. One of them had fair skin, but between his eyebrows, there was a faint smile on his face. A valiant female immortal said with a smile. This time, everyone must be here to exchange for a spot to enter the second level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure, right? According to brother Jia Lan's message, as long as we follow the rules in the mortal realm and do not commit crimes, then we will all be able to get a spot. However, the spots are limited. It is also very good to be able to get a spot first and not have to queue up. Therefore, I am not sparing any capital. The green-clothed youth said seriously. Oh. Big brother Su Huizi, what treasure are you preparing to give Xiaofan? Is it an immortal pill or a magic treasure? Yu Lang was very curious. Well, this is a secret for now. Yu Lang, you will naturally know later. In short, it will definitely satisfy Xiaofan. Yu Lang, what gift did you prepare for Xiaofan? The green-clothed youth, Su Huizi, asked with a smile. Me. It is just a small bottle of thunder attribute immortal pills. I obtained it when I went out to train in the immortal realm. There are about 100 pills. Yu Lang took out a jade bottle. Anyway, I do not cultivate thunder attribute immortal techniques. Therefore, I will give it to Xiaofan in exchange for a spot first. It is also a profit for me. Then let's go and meet brother Jialan and Xiaofan. Let's go. Wuxia Pagoda. In the largest and most comfortable lounge. 7 immortals, Xiaofan, Jialan Zi, and Tao Tai, officially met. Ha 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 ha. Brother Jialan, hello, hello. Tao Tai, I did not expect you to be here. Oh. You are Xiaofan, right? You are indeed young and promising. Ha ha ha. Immortals, I am Xiaofan. Welcome to our human realm, Xiaofan said politely. After looking at their faces, Xiaofan found that the 7 immortals before him were all kind and friendly. Between their brows, there was a first-class temperament. Compared to the divine sword prince's sinister and cruel face, it was like heaven and earth. Indeed, there are good and bad immortals. Xiaofan sighed repeatedly. At this time, Xiaofan was playing the role of a host and treated these immortals with great hospitality. However, Xiaofan used the spirit turtle True Qi to envelop his life aura, so these immortals did not discover anything mysterious about him. The secret of the immortal body was kept to himself. Moreover, Jialan Zi and Tao Tai would not reveal it. The gathering of Xiaofan and the immortals made the entire Wuxia region feel honored. Outside the Wuxia pagoda, there were auspicious clouds and spirit birds flying in for a pilgrimage. The elders in the Wuxia pagoda and many Wuxia warriors were shocked and proud. They did not expect that the leader of their plane, Xiaofan, would attract so many extraordinary immortals to the Wuxia domain. They did not hesitate to condescend and come to the Wuxia domain. Brother Jialan, I have missed you since we parted that day. The young man with white eyebrows and black hair looked at Jialan Zi with a smile. Then, he looked at Xiaofan. Brother Xiao is the #1 genius among the mortals of the countless ordinary realms in this universe. Now that I have met you today, you are indeed extraordinary. Ha ha ha. Black and white, you really know how to flatter people, Tao Tai teased. How can you see that brother Xiaofan is extraordinary? Ha ha ha. Brother Tao Tai, don't tease me, Black and White said with a serious face. Although this is the first time we have met, Brother Xiao gives me an unfathomable feeling. I can't see through Brother Xiao. Ha ha ha. Black and White, you have good eyes. Jialan Zi laughed. By the way, Brother Jialan, I heard that Son of Heaven has also come to this realm. Moreover, this guy seems to have gathered a large group of black sheep. It is obvious that he wants to fight against you, Brother Jialan. Black and White said with a serious face. Brother Jialan, you and Son of Heaven were enemies in the immortal world. However, due to the immortal rules, your battle was not very fierce, but it was still turbulent. Now that you have arrived in the mortal world, you are no longer under control. With Son of Heaven's unscrupulous and vengeful nature, I am afraid. In short, Brother Jialan, you have to be more careful. If you need my help, let me know. It's fine, Jialanzi said lightly. Brother Jialan, who is this Son of Heaven? Hearing this, Xiaofan could not help but ask curiously. Just an old friend. Jialanzi smiled slightly, then looked at the 7 immortals. Everyone, the purpose of you coming to find Xiaofan is to obtain a spot to enter Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. Before this, I have already spread the news that in order to obtain a spot, you must pay a price. Brother Jialan, we naturally know. Since we are already here, we all came prepared. The green-robed Su Huizi also looked at Xiaofan curiously. Brother Xiao, you are now immortal. What do you need immortal pills and magic treasures for? Immortal pills, I am afraid Brother Xiao cannot perfectly absorb the medicinal power within them. As for magic treasures, although Brother Xiao can drip a drop of blood and refine them for your own use, you cannot perfectly unleash the power of the magic treasures. Su Huizi, you don't have to worry about this. Jialan Zi smiled. In short, if everyone can take out immortal pills and treasures that satisfy Xiaofan, Xiaofan will naturally give you a spot. After a pause, Jialan Zi turned to look at Xiaofan. Brother Xiao, Black and White, Yu Yangzi, Su Huizi, and the others are good people in the immortal world. They have never bullied the weak. After they came to the mortal plane, they have always followed the rules and even performed many good deeds. For example, Su Huizi is at the border of the western region, treating the suffering people. As long as they can take out immortal pills and magic treasures that satisfy you, then there is no problem giving them a spot. They should all get a spot to enter the second level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. Alright, in that case, I naturally have no objections. Xiaofan nodded. Then, he spoke humbly to the immortals. I have offended everyone. I am not a greedy person, but I am in urgent need of immortal pills and magic treasures to increase my ability to protect myself. Everyone, please rest assured. Today, I will owe you all a favor. When I enter the second level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure, I will definitely repay all of you if I have any gains. Brother Xiao, there is no need for that. The Black and White smiled at Xiaofan. I can see that Brother Xiao's eyes are clear, and you are definitely not a greedy person. Moreover, Brother Xiao and I hit it off at first sight. Here, this is a bottle of Universe Earth Attribute Sacred Medicine. A small greeting gift. I hope it will be beneficial to Brother Xiao's cultivation. Soon, the other immortals also took out the treasures that they were about to give to Xiaofan. Xiaofan accepted them one by one. In the end, Xiaofan obtained 5 bottles of Universe Earth Attribute Immortal Pills. 1 bottle of Thunder Attribute Immortal Pill. Among them, the most precious was a Thunder Attribute Supreme Grade Immortal Pill that the valiant female immortal gave Xiaofan. This Thunder Attribute Supreme Grade Immortal Pill was a divine pill from the primordial era. It contained a vast world of thunder and lightning. Countless divine lightning bolts shuttled through it. Dragons and snakes writhed in it, and lightning struck. It was extraordinary. This Thunder Attribute Supreme Grade Immortal Pill contains extremely domineering medicinal power. I wonder how many Thunder God body tempering pills it contains. Xiaofan licked his lips. If I absorb and refine it, I should be able to perfectly create the Thunder God Tyrant body. Chapter 579. From the 7 immortals, Xiaofan obtained 5 bottles of Starry Sky Earth Attribute Immortal Pills, 1 bottle of Thunder Attribute Immortal Pill, and 1 Thunder Attribute Supreme Grade Sacred Medicine. It was quite a bountiful harvest. Although he did not obtain Earth and Thunder Attribute Immortal Treasures, the quality of the Thunder Divine Pill from the primordial era was not inferior to the Earth God's Demon Subduing Pearl that Xiaofan refined. This made Xiaofan extremely satisfied. As for immortal pills and Dharma treasures with mental energy attribute, they were extremely rare and precious in the immortal world. According to Jia Lanzi's description, the many immortals that descended to the lower realm this time, not only the immortals that came to Xiaohan's plane, but even the immortals that came to other planes would not have mental energy attribute treasures. According to Jia Lanzi's words, Brother Xiao, I know that your mental energy is unparalleled and comparable to an ordinary perfected immortal. However, it is extremely difficult for you to obtain a mental energy attribute treasure to increase your mental energy realm. Because in the immortal world, mental energy attribute treasures can only be possessed by immortal emperors. If an ordinary perfected immortal holds a mental energy attribute treasure, it will instead become a crime and may bring about a fatal disaster. However, in Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure, there must be a mental energy attribute treasure that you want. Forget it. I am already lucky to be able to obtain these immortal pills. Xiaofan was also extremely satisfied. After he put away the treasures, he distributed the spots to enter the second floor of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure to the 7 immortals. Jia Lanzi took out a jade book and a jade brush and carefully recorded it. The 7 immortals also heaved a long sigh of relief. Brother Jia Lanzi, Brother Tao Tai, I'll have to trouble the two of you to properly receive the guests. I will immediately enter seclusion to cultivate. After obtaining a treasure that could refine an immortal body, Xiaofan was naturally anxious and wanted to enter seclusion immediately. No problem. Brother Xiao, go ahead. Jia Lanzi smiled and paused for a moment. Heh. After Brother Xiao comes out, I'm afraid you will shock me again. Ha ha ha. Go, go. After Xiaofan left in a hurry, Black and White Zi, Yu Yangzi, and the other immortals asked Jia Lanzi in confusion. Only then did he ask Jia Lanzi in confusion. Brother Jialan, could it be that Brother Xiao is really going to consume those immortal pills that we gave him? This is truly inconceivable. Although Brother Xiao's qi and blood are vigorous and his physical body is unparalleled in the mortal world, consuming a large amount of immortal pills is no different from digging his own grave. This is especially so for that nameless ancient thunder god medicinal pill that little sister gave Brother Xiao. Its quality is so high that even little sister consumes it. He also immediately exploded and died due to his immortal body. The valiant female celestial said worriedly. Isn't Brother Xiao being too rash? I hope he doesn't make a mistake. What is there to be afraid of? With Brother Jialan here to protect us, even if Brother Xiao mistakenly consumed the medicinal pill, he would not be able to escape. Nothing will go wrong. Su Huizi said. Both of you underestimate Brother Xiao too much. Since all of you are here, then, both of you shall witness this rare miracle together. Jia Lanzi and Tao Tai looked at each other and smiled. Inside Xiaohan's spiritual secret chamber, countless immortal pills floated around Xiaofan. Starry sky earth attribute immortal pills, thunder attribute immortal pills, the violent, supreme, and invincible medicinal power was like a giant dragon. It lingered around Xiaofan endlessly. Xiaofan loosened his spirit turtle true qi and unleashed his level 2 starry sky dominator body that contained the heavenly Tao. A powerful immortal body. It suppressed the medicinal efficacy of those immortal pills. It was as if a monarch had descended and his power overturned the court. Everyone was stunned. Xiaofan first absorbed a large number of starry sky earth attribute immortal pills. He absorbed all of them. With Xiaohan's level 2 starry sky dominator body, absorbing these immortal pills was as easy as flipping his palm. Like a whale swallowing seawater, the medicinal efficacy swept into his body and was refined. In just a few hours, Xiaofan had completely refined all the starry sky earth attribute immortal pills. His level 2 starry sky dominator body had reached its peak. Although I haven't broken through to level 3 starry sky dominator body, my punch now has the strength of 20 immortal dragons. I've reached the peak of level 2 immortal body. However, I have a special immortal body that can withstand an attack with the strength of 40 immortal dragons. Alright. Let's start creating the Thunder God body. Dual attribute immortal body. Once I succeed, I will be able to tear apart the Divine Sword Prince's immortal body. Primordial Thunder Sacred Medicine. Xiaohan's mind power swept out like a starry sky storm and enveloped the extremely precious Primordial Thunder Sacred Medicine. The medicinal efficacy is indeed strong and domineering. This sacred medicine contains a huge world of thunder from the immortal realm. It's as deep as the sea and boundless. My mind power is like a lone boat floating in the middle of a vast ocean. If I'm not careful, the boat will capsize and I'll die, as long as I obtain the power of thunder in this divine pill. I won't have to fear any immortal who descends. Let's begin. Xiaofan's eyes flashed with unwavering determination. All of a sudden, Xiaofan released all the lightning attribute genes in his body. Seduce, the thunder attribute gene in the primordial thunder sacred medicine. Puff. 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 Immediately, the stable primordial thunder sacred medicine began to emit terrifying sounds of thunder exploding from within. It was as if the order of the pill had been destroyed. It was about to fall apart. The sound of a star disintegrating came from within the pill. Xiaofan didn't dare to suddenly break down this primordial lightning sacred medicine. He was like a butcher dissecting an ox, slowly dissecting this divine pill inch by inch, just like how a butcher dissects an ox. Xiaofan's mental strength was too strong, allowing him to dismember the thunder god's elixir, which was powerful enough to blow up an entire plane, at will. Finally, Puchi. A small piece of the pill fell off. Furthermore, this small piece of pill that had been peeled off was currently opening and closing, about to explode from within. You want to explode? Not so easy. Xiaofan was already prepared. Xiao xiao xiao, thousands of strands of natal saber chi slashed out. At the critical moment, this small piece of pill was disintegrated into tens of thousands of thunder and lightning particles. Then, devour. His mind power wrapped around it. Xiaofan guided these thunder and lightning particles into his body. In this way, a large amount of thunder and lightning power, a huge amount of medicinal power, melted into Xiaofan's bones, blood vessels, and internal organs. It tempered every inch of Xiaofan's skin, every meridian, and every bone. Among them, Xiaofan's bones were especially refined. From a crystal clear color, it turned into a green color. The color of lightning. And it emitted an extremely dazzling light. So dazzling that it blinded one's eyes. On every bone, some complicated thunder god inscriptions were carved, promoting the achievements of the primordial thunder god, and singing songs praising the thunder god. Xiaofan's bones were gradually turning into primordial thunder bones. This caused every bone in Xiaofan's body to emit a strong tearing, destructive, and invulnerable force. Unbreakable, indestructible. Xiaofan's power was strengthened. Now, Xiaofan understood that a casual punch from him would burst forth with a layer of destructive lightning. His fist would emit a layer of destructive lightning. Once it hit its target, the lightning would penetrate the target's body and destroy the internal structure of the enemy's body. The Thunder God Tyrant body is strong in offense but weak in defense. Its offensive power is probably stronger than many other special immortal bodies. It's a notch stronger. However, its defense is weak. But I have the Starry Sky Dominator body. One attack and one defense complement each other. Then, Xiaofan peeled off another piece from the primordial Thunder God pill. Absorb. Refine. Create the Thunder God Tyrant body. In the lounge of the Wuxia Pagoda. Many immortals, led by Jia Lanzi and Tao Tai, were holding their breaths and watching Xiaofan's cultivation. They had been watching for several days. It seems that Brother Xiao has succeeded again this time. Jia Lanzi said in a low voice. He succeeded again. Jia Lanzi said in a low voice. Too amazing. I, Jia Lanzi, am completely convinced. Hearing Jia Lanzi's words, these immortals gasped. Jia Lanzi was a genius in the immortal world. He was the focus of the biggest sects in the immortal world. In the immortal world, he was a leader among the younger generation and had the potential to become an immortal emperor in the future. In the immortal world, he was a leader among the younger generation and had the potential to become an immortal emperor in the future. Such a person actually said that he admired a mortal. This was simply sensational. However, thinking about it carefully, it was no wonder that Jia Lanzi admired Xiaofan. These immortals already knew that Xiaofan was refining the primordial thunder god pill. Judging from the energy fluctuations coming from the secret cultivation room, Xiaofan had already controlled the pill's ferocious medicinal properties and was now refining and absorbing them. Decompose? I think I understand a little. The valiant female immortal suddenly nodded. Brother Xiao didn't directly swallow the primordial thunder god pill. He used the method of a butcher dismembering an ox. He first decomposed the divine medicine and then refined it bit by bit. His wisdom is indeed greater than the heavens. It's both wisdom and courage. The black and white man pondered. The primordial thunder god pill is the most explosive. To decompose it, one must have extraordinary means. Otherwise, once it is decomposed, it will explode. Brother Xiao did very well on this point. Now, I'm looking forward to seeing what Brother Xiao will look like after he comes out of seclusion. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. I really didn't think that there would be such an extraordinary existence among mortals. Xiaofan had been in seclusion for a full 10 days. In these 10 days, Xiaofan had been absorbing the supreme medicinal power and refining the thunder god tyrant body at every moment. In the beginning, Xiaofan's entire body flashed with electric arcs. Every pore on his body emitted a deafening roar, like the terrible roar of a wild beast. But later on, the electric sparks that shot out from Xiaofan's pores were finally absorbed into the depths of Xiaofan's body. His entire body was smooth and glossy, but it didn't seem too tough and domineering. It had reached a level of returning to the natural state. Even the traces of immortal qi on Xiaofan's body were faintly discernible. Finally, all the divine medicines have been completely refined. I, Xiaofan, have finally forged the thunder god tyrant body. This is a real immortal body. Now, I also have a special dual attribute immortal body. Xiaofan suddenly stood up. The entire spiritual secret cultivation room showed an artistic conception of the sunny sky, the singing of birds, and the fragrance of flowers. At this moment, every pore cell of Xiaofan had evolved into a world of thunder. If someone used their spiritual power to penetrate into the cells of Xiaofan's pores, they would find that every pore cell of Xiaofan's was a vast sea of thunder. It was extremely frightening. Chapter 580. Rumble. Rumble. At this moment, as Xiaofan moved his muscles and bones, terrifying rumbling sounds could be heard from within his body. It was as if thousands of wild beasts were roaring inside of him, or as if all the lightning in the world was exploding inside of him. Thunder God Tyrant Physique, I have finally created this immortal physique. Xiaofan was feeling a little proud of himself. Coupled with the starry sky dominator I created earlier, this is a true dual elemental immortal body. It's no longer an embryonic dual elemental immortal body. This way, if those beauties and young prodigies from the immortal world want to bully me or cause trouble in the mortal world, Xiaofan, have a certain foundation to stop them. The quota to enter the second layer of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure is completely up to me, Xiaofan. After refining and forging the immortal body, Xiaofan's every thought seemed to be filled with confidence. It had completely formed a domineering aura. Especially after creating the mighty body of the Thunder God. This kind of ferocious, domineering aura that could destroy everything was overflowing with words. It could be said that Xiaofan's mind had completely transformed. The immortal heart had transformed into the immortal heart. Seriously speaking, with the quality of Xiaofan's current body, he was already an immortal. Dual elemental immortal body. However, the way he became an immortal was not the traditional way of cultivating true qi, opening the heavenly eye, and welcoming the heavenly tribulation. Moreover, Xiaofan also deliberately controlled his body so that it would not pierce through the spatial barrier between the mortal world and the immortal world. Right now, Xiaofan would not forcefully ascend. He needed to train in Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure and increase his battle strength again so that he would not be oppressed or bullied in the immortal world. Only after settling everything in the mortal world would Xiaofan ascend to the immortal world. Ascension is still too far away. I won't think about it for now. Xiaofan smiled. He used the spirit turtle True Qi to seal off the aura of the immortal body and everything. Then, he slowly walked out of the secret mental room. In the resting room where the 7 immortals were invited. At this moment, He Heizi, Yu Yangzi, and Su Huizi were all staring at Xiaofan in shock. Xiaohan's entire body looked ordinary and extremely reserved. At first glance, there was nothing out of the ordinary. However, if these immortals carefully used their immortal senses to penetrate Xiaohan's body, they would discover that something was amiss. There was something unfathomable about Xiaofan, something that even they could not see through. Combined with all the strange phenomena that had occurred while Xiaofan was in seclusion, the 7 immortals were completely stunned. They stared at Xiaofan in a daze, their throats gurgling. They choked and could not speak. A thought suddenly appeared in their minds. Could it be that Xiaofan really refined and absorbed all the immortal pills and saint medicines, in comparison? Jia Lanzi and Tao Mei were slightly better off. After all, the 2 immortals had witnessed the miracle of Xiaofan refining the earth attribute deity artifact and dharma treasure. Although his heart was filled with shock, he was still able to endure it. Brother Xiao, succeeded again this time? Jia Lanzi could not help but lick his lips and ask Xiaofan. Even that ancient thunder attribute divine medicine, consumed and refined it to his heart's content? Yes. Xiaofan nodded slightly. Hiss. Jia Lanzi and Tao Mei looked at each other and sucked in a breath of cold air. The valiant female immortal who gave Xiaofan the primordial lightning attribute divine herb blurted out in shock and horror. He actually consumed that ancient thunder attribute divine medicine and refined it perfectly. That is really a rare miracle. With my level 2 true immortal realm, it is absolutely impossible for me to enjoy that ancient divine medicine. If I forcefully consumed it, it would be as if my entire body was struck by lightning. My immortal body would be reduced to ashes and I would die for sure. But Brother Xiao could safely consume it. This way, there is no doubt that you will condense a thunder attribute immortal body. Her face was full of horror as she raised her eyes and stared at Xiaofan. At this time, Jia Lanzi rushed to ask. Brother Xiao, you have a dual attribute immortal body? You really have a dual attribute immortal body? Fortunately, I did not fail to live up to Brother Jia Lanzi's expectations. Xiaofan smiled indifferently. After pausing for a moment, Xiaofan continued. However, at this moment, I still do not know much about this dual attribute immortal body. I hope Brother Jia Lanzi can tell me. Good. Very good. Although I have befriended a few immortals with dual attribute immortal bodies when I was in the immortal world, out of courtesy, I have never seriously appraised their immortal bodies. Moreover, Brother Xiao is a mortal who condensed a dual attribute immortal body in the mortal world. This is the only one in the heavens and earth. I have the honor to see it and feel deeply honored. Now, even if Brother Xiao doesn't say it, I still want to carefully appraise it. As he spoke, Jia Lanzi carefully and with full concentration. Without any distractions, he slowly penetrated his immortal sense into Xiaohan's immortal body and carefully appraised it. An hour later. Jia Lanzi took a deep breath. There was an unconcealable horror in his expression. This, Brother Jia Lanzi, how is little brother's immortal body? Xiaofan was very curious. Not only Xiaofan, but even Tao Mei Zi and the other 7 immortals also had a look of curiosity. After all, among these immortals, Jia Lanzi's talent and immortal force were the most vigorous. He stood out from the crowd. Therefore, only Jia Lanzi could see through Xiaofan's immortal body without any distractions. The other immortals also tried to use their immortal sense to penetrate Xiaofan's body. However, the more they looked, the more they felt that Xiaofan's body was unfathomable. Including Xiaofan, everyone was waiting for the result of Jia Lanzi's appraisal. It's too magical. This immortal body is unparalleled in the heavenly Son of Heaven. Once you reach the immortal world, Brother Xiao will definitely become the target that all the major sects in the immortal world will fight to win over. Jia Lanzi's lips were dry and slightly trembling. Brother Xiao, I'm not exaggerating. With Brother Xiao's current talent, when you ascend to the immortal world, there will definitely be no problem for you to enter any immortal world sect. Ordinary people in the immortal world can only bitterly beg to enter the various immortal world sections. They pray for blessings, afraid of being rejected, and even kneel in front of the mountain gate. But Brother Xiao is definitely different. It will definitely be the elders of the various immortal world sects who will condescend, bow their heads, and beg. Invite Brother Xiao to join the sect. Moreover, after entering the sect, Brother Xiao will definitely be able to obtain the best resources and become the focus of the sect. Brother Jia Lanzi must be joking. After listening, Xiaofan shook his head and laughed. Brother Xiao, Jia Lanzi has always been meticulous with his words. He never lies, and he is definitely not a hypocrite. What he said must be the truth. It must be the truth. The black and white man said with a serious expression. Brother Xiao, I admire you. Admire you. Moreover, Jia Lanzi's foresight was unique. He had his eyes on the right person. He can't be wrong. The moment he said this, all the immortals nodded their heads, their expressions were very serious. Sweat. I'm indebted to everyone's praise. Xiaofan was surprised and happy. Brother Jia Lanzi, what level of immortal physique is this little brother's current immortal physique? After refining the earth attribute magic treasure Earth God Demon Subduing Pearl, Xiaofan condensed a level 2 immortal physique. Now, with a special dual attribute immortal physique, Xiaofan guessed that the level of his immortal physique would most likely be superimposed. It might even reach the level of a level 3 immortal physique or a level 4 immortal physique. According to the immortal physique's level, Brother Xiao, you are still only a level 2 immortal physique. Jia Lanzi said seriously. Oh? Still only a level 2 immortal physique? Xiaofan was slightly puzzled. This. Brother Jia Lanzi, before this, I had already created a level 2 immortal physique. Brother Xiao, don't be anxious. Slowly listen to this brother. Jia Lanzi said seriously. Whether it is a dual attribute immortal physique, or a 3 attribute immortal physique, or even a 4 or 5 attribute immortal physique. Any multi-attribute immortal physique will not superimpose. However, Jia Lanzi said with a smile. Brother Xiao, you are now a level 2 Star Dominator physique and a level 2 Thunder God Tyrant physique. When superimposed together, it will be a level 2 special dual attribute immortal physique. If Brother Xiao wants to create a level 3 immortal physique, you will need to reach level 3 with both the Thunder God Tyrant physique and the Star Dominator physique. Of course, a level 2 special dual attribute immortal physique will naturally be many times stronger than an ordinary level 2 immortal physique. First of all, a level 2 Star Dominator physique will only have the pure strength of 20 immortal dragons at its peak. However, its defense is equivalent to a level 4 immortal physique, and it can withstand the pure strength of 40 immortal dragons. Now that Brother Xiao has created a level 2 Thunder God Tyrant physique, its defense is equivalent to an ordinary level 2 immortal physique, and its attack is equivalent to the power of an ordinary level 4 immortal physique. However, the attack and defense of 2 immortal physiques cannot be superimposed together. For a dual attribute immortal physique, both attack and defense are taken from the extreme of each immortal physique. In other words, although Brother Xiao's physique cannot be superimposed with the Star Dominator physique and the Thunder God Tyrant physique, he can take the advantages of both and combine them. Simply put, Brother Xiao's current level 2 dual attribute immortal physique is based on the Thunder God Tyrant physique for strength, and the Star Dominator physique for defense. I understand now. Xiaofan's spirit was lifted. In other words, the maximum attack of my immortal physique can reach the extreme of an ordinary level 4 immortal physique, which is the attack of 40 immortal dragons. As for my defense, it can also reach the extreme of an ordinary level 4 immortal physique, and it can withstand the pure strength of 40 immortal dragons. Indeed. Jia Lanzi nodded solemnly. Both attack and defense are taken from the advantages of 2 special immortal physiques, and both are 40 immortal dragons. This immortal physique is terrifying. A level 2 special immortal physique has both attack and defense at the extreme of an ordinary level 4 immortal physique. In this way, not only is Brother Xiao invincible among mortals, but he can also fight against immortals like us who have descended. Before descending, I never thought that the so-called number 1 genius among mortals, Brother Xiao, could be so monstrous. Tao Tai and the other 7 immortals were now full of praise for Xiaofan's achievements. Every word they uttered was filled with incredulity and surprise. As for Xiaofan, he was also very satisfied. He could clearly feel the respect that Jia Lanzi and the other immortals had for him. So much so that these geniuses who had descended from the immortal world had a kind of admiration for him. Yes, admiration. Because Xiaofan knew that what he had accomplished was something that even these immortals could not achieve. At this point, Xiaofan's previous fear, and all kinds of helplessness towards the immortals who had descended from the immortal world had all disappeared. What replaced it was a kind of equality. A kind of unafraid of competition. Boom! A shackle on Xiaofan's heart suddenly exploded. Xiaofan raised his head slightly and only felt that above his head, there was a blue sea and blue sky. The sea and the sky were vast, and he could soar freely. Chapter 581. However, even though Xiaofan had broken the shackles of his heart and no longer thought that immortals were unreachable and insurmountable, he did not reveal the slightest bit of arrogance. Instead, he retained a bit of humility. Watermark advertisement test Xiaofan's face did not show any arrogance as he spoke humbly. Brother Jialan, I was lucky enough to cultivate a dual attribute immortal physique, but I dare not act recklessly. Moreover, I understand that every advancement of a dual attribute immortal physique is extremely difficult. It is much more difficult than an ordinary immortal physique. After all, every advancement of a dual attribute immortal physique requires 2 immortal physiques to upgrade at the same time. But it's still fine. For example, a triple attribute, 4 attribute, or even a 5 attribute immortal physique would be extremely troublesome to advance by 1 level. Hearing Xiaofan's mockery, the immortals also laughed. Moreover, Jia Lanzi and the other immortals saw Xiaofan's calm and unruffled expression after achieving such a proud achievement. They all respected Xiaofan even more. Moreover, they deeply felt that with Xiaofan's temperament, he would become an extremely terrifying figure in the future. Brother Xiao, you're right. It's true that every advancement of a triple attribute immortal physique requires 3 physiques to upgrade at the same time. A 4 attribute immortal physique is even more exaggerated, requiring 4 physiques to upgrade at the same time. However, for these multi-attribute physiques, every advancement of a level is extremely terrifying. It's definitely incomparable to an ordinary immortal physique. Jialanzi looked at Xiaofan seriously. Brother Xiao, if your dual attribute immortal physique really matures in the future, your future will be limitless. Xiaofan smiled. An immortal physique is just a foundation. For example, right now, my physical attack and defense have reached the peak of a level 4 ordinary immortal physique, which is 40 dragons of immortal energy. However, I have never cultivated immortal arts. Without flexible immortal energy, I can't effectively use immortal artifacts or Dharma treasures. If I really fight against ordinary descended immortals, I'm afraid I can protect myself. But to kill them? It's almost impossible. Unless the descended immortals don't use superior immortal arts when facing an enemy. They don't even need to use their Dharma treasures, but that's obviously impossible. Brother Xiaofan, don't belittle yourself. If you encounter us immortals, you won't be able to escape. If you encounter us descended immortals, you will definitely have no problem protecting yourself. If he could catch them off guard, he might even be able to kill some of them. He. Moreover, with Brother Jialan by your side, it's almost impossible for any immortals to descend and pose a threat to you, Tao Tai said as he took out a greasy chicken leg from his bosom and nibbled on it. In that case, Brother Xiao. Now, we can leave the Devil Hero domain and travel this plane again to look for scattered immortals to distribute the quota. Or perhaps you've expelled and punished those black sheep? Jia Lanzi said with a smile. Xiaofan also laughed. Very good. Very good. Brother Jialan, then, let's go out again. Ha 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 ha. The current Xiaofan also really wanted to go out again and travel around the plains. On one hand, it was to distribute the remaining slots. On the other hand, it was to search for immortals like the divine sword disciple who committed crimes and eliminated them, so that the plane and all living beings would not be harmed. Wait. The immortal, black and white, suddenly said. Brother Jialan, Brother Xiao, before coming to the Devil Hero domain, we all heard some rumors. Brother Jialan, your enemy in the immortal world, that Son of Heaven, has gathered a group of immortals who have behaved badly. Son of Heaven's behavior must be to deal with Brother Jialan, or even rob Brother Xiao. Brother Jialan, although you're brave, Son of Heaven's group has a lot of people, and all of them are immoral and unscrupulous. Why don't you also gather a group of immortals and form an alliance to fight against Son of Heaven? I'm willing to follow Brother Jialan. Yes. Brother Jialan, Son of Heaven must be guarded against this person. The other immortals were also worried. Haha, unexpectedly, Jia Lanzi laughed heartily. Thank you for your kindness, but forget about the alliance. I was ordered by my sect to descend to the mortal world to assist Brother Xiao in distributing the quota to enter the second layer of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure. Reward the good and punish the evil. If I form an alliance with other immortals, it will become a laughing stock. Everyone will say that I, Jia Lanzi, formed a clique for personal gain, practiced favoritism, and acted unfairly. In this way, the face of my sect will be tarnished and disgraced. It's fine, Brother Xiao and I will go together. Even if Son of Heaven is plotting against me, I will still resist. As he spoke, Jia Lanzi's eyebrows and eyes revealed an unparalleled domineering aura. He was hardy and fearless, truly showing the demeanor and confidence of a young talent in the immortal world. This made Xiaofan secretly admire him. Subconsciously, Xiaofan seemed to be unwilling to be inferior to Jia Lanzi and blurted out, I'll go with Brother Jialan. I'm not afraid of those evil immortals. Although a mortal had condensed an immortal body, he had never been to the immortal world and had not received the cultivation of an orthodox sect in the immortal world. In terms of foundation, it was inevitable that he was somewhat lacking. However, at this moment, Xiaofan's bearing was faintly comparable to Jia Lanzi's, which made the other immortals click their tongues in wonder. Ha! Suddenly, Jia Lanzi laughed involuntarily. In fact, the reason why I'm so confident to bring Brother Xiao to roam the four regions and the great wilderness without fear of the Heaven Emperor's plot is not because I boast that my strength is outstanding and can crush everything. The real reason is because of Brother Xiao. Ha ha ha. Now, Brother Xiao has formed a dual attribute immortal body, and both his attack and defense have reached 40 immortal dragon power. Any immortal that descends will pay a painful price if they look down on Brother Xiao. If Brother Xiao still had the body of an ordinary person, then I would not dare to be careless and bring Brother Xiao out to take risks. But now... Jia Lanzi looked at Xiaofan with a smile that was not a smile. Brother Xiao, you're good at disguising yourself and can almost perfectly conceal the aura of your immortal body. In this way, if Son of Heaven and the others rashly attack and want to capture Brother Xiao, they will be greatly miscalculated. Hearing Jia Lanzi's words, Xiaofan also laughed. Yes. Heaven's Son and the other immortals would never have expected that my little brother had condensed a real immortal body in the mortal world, and they would never have expected that my little brother's attack and defense level had reached 40 immortal dragon power. That's right, if they didn't see it with their own eyes, even if I told them in person, they would never believe it. Humph. If that so-called Son of Heaven bullies me and wants to capture me, then I, Xiaofan, will definitely teach him a lesson. As he spoke, Xiaofan could not help but lick his lips. A strange light flashed across his eyes as he thought, with my current strength, I can completely kill immortals when they are completely unprepared. Heh, what does it feel like to kill immortals? Xiaofan actually had an urge to give it a try. Jia Lanzi smiled and said to the other immortals. Now, everyone has obtained the quota to enter the second floor of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure in a few years. You can leave the Wuxia region and play in this plane, or you can stay in the Wuxia region. However, I hope that everyone will keep the matter of Brother Xiao condensing an immortal body a secret, of course. Brother Jia Lanzi, don't worry, we will definitely keep this a secret. Moreover, no one will believe us even if we go around telling everyone that Brother Xiao has formed an immortal body. Ha ha ha. The immortals laughed. Then, Brother Jia Lanzi, I will return to the Pure Cloud sect and then we will set off again. Xiaofan smiled. Jia Lanzi naturally agreed without hesitation. Immediately, Xiaofan and Jia Lanzi bid farewell to the immortals and returned to the Pure Cloud sect to rest for a few days. Xiaofan was entangled with his wives, and he doted on his son as well. Several days later, Xiaofan and Jia Lanzi rode the wind and auspicious clouds, leaving the Unity Mountain Range and heading for the eastern region. In the eastern region, the number of immortals who descended was the highest. Xiaofan spread out his spiritual force to search for the dormant immortal qi in the secular world. Eastern region. Haichang Empire. The Imperial Garden of the Imperial Palace. Son of Heaven stood proudly and raised his eyes slightly to look at the clouds in the sky. The corner of his mouth outlined a sinister smile. This smile actually caused the dozens of immortals standing behind him to involuntarily shudder. Son of Heaven. Can we move now? Finally, an immortal broke the dull atmosphere and said. We have released our immortal senses and almost covered this plane. As expected, we found something. Jia Lanzi and Xiaofan have already set off from the direction of the Wuxia region and are heading towards the eastern region. The muscles at the corner of Son of Heaven's eyes slightly twitched a few times. His eyes became colder and colder. The air in all directions seemed to stiffen and freeze under his gaze. The matter of me, Son of Heaven, forming an alliance with all of you has already spread like wildfire among the circle of immortals who have descended to this plane. I think Jia Lanzi should also know about this matter. Now, he actually dares to single-handedly bring along a mortal ant like Xiaofan to swindle people everywhere. It seems that Jia Lanzi does not put me, Son of Heaven, in his eyes. Good, good, very good. While speaking, Son of Heaven's eyes were brewing many sinister plots, extremely cruel and abnormal. That Jia Lanzi is really arrogant. If he is alone, even if we form an alliance, it is not impossible to defeat him, but it is almost impossible to make him stay or even kill him. But he has a mortal with him. A strange immortal with a golden horn on his forehead said fiercely. A mortal is a burden. How dare Jia Lanzi be arrogant with such a big burden? What an idiot. It seems that this time, Son of Heaven, will inevitably have to fight with this arrogant guy. Son of Heaven said coldly. Everyone, act according to the original plan. Lure Jialanzi away and capture Xiaofan alive. Yes. Dozens of immortals roared with murderous intent. Chapter 582. The Son of Heaven and the group of cruel immortals wanted to carry out the plan that they had been planning for a long time to deal with Jialanzi and Xiaofan. Their ultimate goal was to capture Xiaofan alive. All of you, listen carefully. The Son of Heaven said with a sinister look. The plan this time is not to kill Jialanzi. The main goal is to capture that ant, Xiaofan. As long as we capture Xiaofan, Jialanzi will be at our mercy. Jialanzi is arrogant and proud. This time, he must want to show off his skills in Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. Humph. If we control Xiaofan, if I want Jialanzi to kneel, he will kneel. He can humiliate Jialanzi. That's right, the other immortals echoed in unison. It won't be that easy to kill Jialanzi. His immortal force is nothing, but he must have some extraordinary magic treasures on him. I do have a few magic treasures on me, but my sect is not as rich as Jialanzi's sect. The Son of Heaven said indignantly. I need to keep my magic treasures. After a few years, I will use them to obtain opportunities in the second layer of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. I will even obtain the legacy of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao. The eyes of the Son of Heaven flashed with the light of ambition. Therefore, before entering the second layer of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure, I don't want to compete with Jialanzi with magic treasures. I must use the smallest price to control Jialanzi. Many immortals nodded after hearing this. That made sense. Every immortal who descended had life-saving treasures bestowed upon them by their sections. These treasures couldn't be used up easily. Good steel should be used on blades. If they were used up prematurely, or even exposed, it would be extremely detrimental to the grand expedition in a few years' time. Let's act according to the plan. The Son of Heaven ordered. His entire body suddenly burst out with immortal chi and turned into a palm-sized black crow that soared into the sky. Let's go. Dozens of immortals. Each of them used their divine abilities and flew high into the sky. The divine sword child shrank in a corner and did not move. However, his eyes flashed with a bloodthirsty light. Divine sword child, you've fallen in rank and are now a cripple. Hurry up and scram back to the immortal world. You absolutely cannot participate in the plan this time. Otherwise, you will be directly killed by Jialanzi. Dying in the mortal world was also a matter of great shame and humiliation. Ha ha ha. An immortal whose feet were like vortexes flew into the sky. He looked down at Divine Sword Child and laughed in disdain. Humph. Master Divine Sword coldly harumphed. The resentment in his eyes intensified as he gritted his teeth. Naturally, I won't go with you. However, I won't return to the world of immortals right away either. I've already investigated Xiaohan's base. It's in the southern region's cloud sect. A bunch of ants were Xiaohan's relatives. In fact, Xiaofan had 4 wives and a newborn son, all of whom were in the pure cloud sect. Ha 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 ha. Xiaofan. This time. I want your family destroyed. I'll immediately infiltrate the Pure Rain sect and slaughter them to the ground. The entire sect would be annihilated. I will also ravage your wives to death. Ha ha ha. Your son will be killed. I'll let you, Xiaofan, feel the greatest pain in the world. Ha 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 ha. After saying that, Master Divine Sword condensed all the immortal force in his body and turned into a golden sword light. He directly flew in the direction of the southern region's cloud sect. The eastern region. In the sky. An ice hornless dragon soared in the sky. Xiaofan and Jialanzi stood on top of the dragon's head. Brother Jialanzi, I've sensed something from the fluctuation of my spirit. It seems that there are many immortals secretly watching us. Xiaofan frowned slightly. Jia Lanzi also nodded. Many extremely familiar immortal senses. Most of them are infamous people in the world of immortals. Son of Heaven. Are you ready to make a move? Son of Heaven. Brother Jia Lanzi, it seems that this fellow has gathered a large number of immortals with bad conduct and is about to make a move against us. Xiaohan's voice was completely devoid of fear. In fact, it was even a hint of eagerness. Oh. Jia Lanzi couldn't help but laugh when he saw his expression. Brother Xiao, I can feel that you're actually very excited. This little brother's immortal body has just been formed and I'm a little impatient. I want to find an opportunity to test my strength against the immortals. Xiaohan chuckled. Jia Lanzi laughed involuntarily. Brother Xiao, you'll probably get such an opportunity. Xiaohan nodded slightly. Then, he urged the spirit turtle True Qi to wrap the aura of his immortal body and the demon emperor's palm tightly. After that, Xiaohan's eyes also flashed with a trace of craftiness. When Jia Lanzi saw it, he was also shocked and blurted out. Brother Xiao, your disguise is indeed too perfect. I can't even see through it. TSK, now, I'm starting to sweat for Son of Heaven and the others. Well said, well said. Xiaohan laughed sinisterly. Then, he muttered. While they're unprepared, I can kill a few immortals and plunder some immortal artifacts and magic treasures. This. Brother Xiao, you're wishful thinking. You actually dare to directly kill the immortals. Jia Lanzi was horrified. At this moment, Jia Lanzi's expression slightly changed. They're coming so fast. Brother Xiao, we've already been surrounded. Xiaohan's spirit spread out. Sure enough, from all directions, waves of immortal qi surged over like a tide. Within these immortal qi fluctuations, there was a fierce and ruthless aura. There was a kind of domineering aura that swept in all directions. Among these immortal qi fluctuations, there was an extremely noble immortal qi. With a slight sweep, it could create a strong spatial storm. It had the bearing of a monarch overlooking the world. Xiaohan's heart moved. A name suddenly flashed in his mind. Son of Heaven. According to Jia Lanzi, among the younger generation of the immortal world, Jia Lanzi and Son of Heaven were almost the most outstanding group of talents. However, the two of them were also natural enemies. That noble fluctuation of immortal qi must be Emperor Tsang. It is indeed extraordinary. In terms of aura alone, he does not lose to Brother Jia Lanzi. If Brother Jia Lanzi is said to be awe-inspiring and peaceful, then this Son of Heaven is arrogant and unruly. Both of them have their own advantages. Xiaohan's mind flashed. However, Xiaohan was not afraid of this Son of Heaven now that he had a dual attribute immortal body. Boom! A glazed immortal qi barrier descended from the sky and directly enveloped a large space where Xiaohan and Jia Lanzi were. At the same time, dozens of immortals had already appeared in all directions. These immortals surrounded Xiaohan and Jia Lanzi in the center. Among them, a man who looked like a noble walked out from the crowd. Above his head, there was a strange phenomenon. Countless stars and streaks of light appeared. As soon as he walked out, his immortal sense unscrupulously swept towards Xiaohan. Then, he sneered at Jia Lanzi. Jia Lanzi, I didn't expect that both of us would descend to this plane at the same time. You are Xiaohan. A little ant, relying on Jia Lanzi's power, actually dares to insult an immortal? Acting as an accomplice to a villain. Indeed, among the mortals, you are considered a first-class expert. However, in front of us immortals, you are no different from an ant. This Son of Heaven's immortal sense swept around Xiaohan's body but did not discover the secret of Xiaohan's dual attribute immortal body. At this time, the immortals led by Son of Heaven were like wolves and tigers. They fiercely glared at Xiaohan. Their eyes revealed a hint of greed as if they could not wait to swarm up and swallow Xiaofan alive. Son of Heaven, don't be rash. Jia Lanzi raised his eyelids slightly and said calmly. This is the mortal world, not a place for us to fight. Ha 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 ha, Jia Lanzi, you hypocrite. Son of Heaven suddenly let out a mocking laugh. Sanctimonious. Do you think I don't know what you are thinking? As soon as you descended, you controlled Xiaofan. You want to use Xiaofan to suppress us immortals who don't get along with you, right? Ha ha ha. How hypocritical. After a pause, Son of Heaven looked at Xiaofan with a pitiful gaze. Xiaofan. You are really pitiful. Do you know that? You are just a clown being used by Jia Lanzi. How ridiculous. How foolish. When you have lost your value, Jia Lanzi will only kick you away. Poor you, you are still hellbent on following Jia Lanzi's side. Hearing this, Xiaofan pretended to be frightened. He lowered his head slightly and did not say a word. Seeing Xiaofan's embarrassed appearance, Jia Lanzi could only sneer. Hearing Son of Heaven's filthy words, Jia Lanzi was not angry. He smiled indifferently. Son of Heaven, my purpose is not up to you to judge. However, if you want to stir up trouble in this plane, you must first go through me. Jia Lanzi, I know that your sect has a strong foundation and must have given you a lot of magical treasures. But... Son of Heaven's eyes were extremely sharp. Jia Lanzi, enough with the idle talk. Now, hand Xiaofan over to us. Otherwise, this matter will not end well. Son of Heaven, don't push your luck. Suddenly, Jia Lanzi's body erupted with violent immortal qi. In an instant, Jia Lanzi's aura covered the sky and the wind and clouds changed color. The aura of Jia Lanzi and Son of Heaven were equally matched. When they clashed, heaven and earth shook. It was as if the crystal wall of this plane could not withstand it and was about to collapse. Ha 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 ha, Jia Lanzi, I know you are very strong, but... if we fight now, I am afraid that our immortal qi will cause this plane to shatter. Ha ha ha. Billions of lives in this plane will die a violent death. Son of Heaven sneered. Jia Lanzi, haven't you always been kind and benevolent? Very well, I will give you two choices now. First, hand over Xiaofan obediently and we will avoid fighting. Second, fight directly. Fight until the sky falls and the earth shatters. Blow up this plane. Annihilate all the lives in this plane. I don't mind killing mortals like pigs and dogs, but Jia Lanzi, if countless mortals die because of you, I am afraid that you will also be punished when you return to the immortal world. Ha ha ha. Two choices. I will give you 10 breaths of time to consider. After 10 breaths of time, I will take out my magical treasure and break through the crystal wall of this plane to fight to the death with you. Ah ha ha ha. Chapter 583. Jia Lanzi and Heaven's Son, this pair of archenemies in the immortal world, finally confronted each other in front of Xiaofan. Heaven's Son gathered dozens of immortals and surrounded Jia Lanzi and Xiaofan. In terms of immortal qi, Heaven's Son and Jia Lanzi were almost on par. The two of them could compete with each other. Now, Heaven's Son had the advantage in numbers and there was no lack of powerful immortals to help him. Jia Lanzi's advantage was his foundation. The foundation of his sect. The magical treasures he carried. Trump cards. If they were to fight, Heaven's Son's side did not have absolute confidence in keeping Jia Lanzi here, let alone killing him. At most, they could repel Jia Lanzi. However, if Jia Lanzi did not care about the price and took out all kinds of magical treasures, the situation would be unpredictable. However, no matter what the outcome of this battle was, the aftermath of the battle would be enough to destroy this plane. The living beings of this plane would be like ants under a collapsing building. They could only accept the fate of being crushed and destroyed. Heaven's son was extremely intelligent. In order to achieve his goal, he would use any means necessary. He saw that Jia Lanzi was in the secular world and did not dare to attack to his heart's content. Therefore, he directly used this weakness to suppress Jia Lanzi. Heaven's son. You are really despicable. If you want to fight, I can fight with you. No matter how many helpers you gather, I am not afraid. If you have the ability, let's fly out of this plane and fight in space. Jia Lanzi was also angry. Ha 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 ha, Heaven's son laughed loudly. The immortals in the surroundings also joined in the uproar. Idiot. If you want to fight, then fight in this secular world. Why do you have to waste your immortal chi and fight in space? You're really taking off your pants to fart. What an unnecessary move. We immortals see mortals as pigs and dogs. When immortals fight, why do we need to consider the life and death of mortals? Jia Lanzi, you are too hypocritical. He probably doesn't dare to fight with Heaven's son. That's why he came up with all kinds of excuses. Enough. Jia Lanzi, 10 breaths of time is almost up. Do you hand over Xiaofan or do you want to fight? Make your decision. The Son of Heaven looked at Jia Lanzi coldly. Immortal energy surged from his body, causing heaven and earth to tremble. On the ground, many mountains and cities experienced earthquakes as people wailed in fear. Despicable. Jia Lanzi gnashed his teeth. Indeed, the Son of Heaven had grasped his weakness. In this mortal plane, he indeed did not dare to fight. Just then, Brother Jialan, I also don't wish to make things difficult for you. Suddenly, Xiaofan took a step out. He had an impassioned expression on his face as he looked at Heaven's son with the determination to die. Son of Heaven. I, Xiaofan, will go with you. Xiaofan paused for a moment, and then his eyes flashed. He looked down at the land and said leisurely, what a pity for the state of the universe. This is my hometown. I was born here and grew up here. There are my family and friends here. How can I, Xiaofan, watch them die in front of me? Fine. Son of the Heaven, I will go with you. However, you have to promise me that you will not harm the creatures of this plane. The expression on Xiaofan's face was one of utmost righteousness, as if he was ready to die for the cause. It was simply touching the world. However, Xiaofan also had his own plan. If I let Brother Jialan and the Son of Heaven fight, my plane will definitely be destroyed. If I let Brother Jialan and the Son of Heaven fight, my plane will definitely be destroyed. Why don't I take a risk and beat him at his own game? This Son of Heaven. He doesn't know anything about me. I have condensed a dual attribute immortal body. My physical body's offense and defense have reached 40 immortal dragon power. Any immortal who underestimates me will pay a heavy price. If they don't guard against me, then I, Xiaofan, will have the chance to kill immortals. Brother Xiao, you. Jia Lanzi's expression changed. However, he did not know whether to laugh or cry. Brother Xiao's acting is really good. Dual attribute immortal body, offense and defense of 40 immortal dragon power, but it is perfectly hidden. This is no different from a ferocious tiger taking a nap in the forest. Once it pounces, it can tear apart all its prey. The Son of Heaven and the others thought that they were clever and wanted to kidnap Brother Xiao, treating Brother Xiao as a sheep. However, they never expected that the true face of this sheep was actually a ferocious and hungry tiger. In the blink of an eye, many thoughts appeared in Jia Lanzi's mind. It's impossible to fight the Heaven Emperor. I can only beat him at his own game and let Brother Xiao follow the Heaven Emperor. With Brother Xiao's ability and adaptability, it won't be a problem for him to protect himself. Moreover, I can also protect Brother Xiao in secret. Listening to Xiaofan's impassioned speech, coupled with Xiaofan's solemn expression, the immortals led by the Son of Heaven burst into laughter. Ha 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 ha. How tragic and stirring. How touching. Sacrificing oneself for a noble cause. Ha 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 ha, in order to protect the plane, he is willing to sacrifice himself. Even this immortal is moved to tears. Wahahaha. Idiot. Pedantic. Enough, the Son of Heaven waved his hand to stop the clamor of the immortals and smiled at Xiaofan. Alright, Xiaofan, a wise man submits to circumstances. You can come over now and follow me. Don't worry, after all, the quota to enter the second level of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure is in your hands. I will not kill you for the time being. As long as you follow me obediently and be a well-behaved and loyal dog, maybe I will reward you with a few bones in the future. Hearing the insult from the Son of Heaven, Xiaofan's heart was bursting with killing intent. However, he forcefully endured it and calmly took a step forward. He tilted his head and said to Jialanzi, "Brother Jialanzi, thank you for taking care of me during this period of time. I will go now." "Brother Xiao," Jialanzi sighed slightly. "You have to take care of yourself, don't worry. Brother Jialanzi, we will meet again." Xiaofan cupped his fists slightly. From the corner of his eyes, he gave Jialanzi a meaningful look. Jialanzi nodded slightly and no longer spoke. Xiaofan slowly walked towards the Son of Heaven. Ha 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 ha. "Jialanzi, you have lost this time." The Son of Heaven laughed sinisterly. "You have completely lost." Then, the Son of Heaven glanced at Xiaofan from the corner of his eyes. "Xiaofan, there is no future for you to follow a hypocrite like Jialanzi. It is better for you to follow me." Ha 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 ha. Finally, Xiaofan arrived beside the Son of Heaven. Two immortals immediately stood on either side of Xiaofan and locked their auras onto him, completely restraining him. Son of Heaven. "Let's go," the immortal standing on the left side of Xiaofan nodded to the Son of Heaven. "Let's go." The Son of Heaven also nodded. He was also a little afraid of Jialanzi. He was afraid that Jialanzi would suddenly attack and snatch Xiaofan. Therefore, with a single order, the group of immortals grabbed Xiaofan and immediately retreated. Humph. From the beginning to the end, Jialanzi did not make any movements. After watching Xiaofan, Son of Heaven and the others leave, he let out a slight snort. Then, Jialanzi flipped his left hand and some light spots like fireflies appeared on his palm. "Son of Heaven, don't be complacent. I have already left some marks on Brother Xiao's body. No matter where you take Brother Xiao, I will be able to control him. Once Brother Xiao is in danger, I can rescue him immediately. Son of Heaven, have you won? It is still unknown who will be the winner." Whoosh! On a huge immortal cloud, Son of Heaven stood proudly with his hands behind his back. His angular face revealed a high-spirited smile. A large group of immortals surrounded Xiaofan. They surrounded Xiaofan, and all of them burst into wild laughter. Ha 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 ha. "Son of Heaven, I didn't expect that the plan this time would be so successful." Ha ha ha. Xiaofan was directly captured. Seeing Jialanzi's helpless expression. That was so cool. Humph. Xiaofan, a mere mortal, how dare you use Jialanzi's power to bully us immortals? How dare you make decisions on your own? Allocating the quota? I originally thought that in order to capture Xiaofan, would need to fight Jialanzi. In the end, it was a situation where no blood was shed. This time, I have grasped Jialanzi's weakness. Son of Heaven nodded with great satisfaction. Then, he looked at Xiaofan indifferently. "Xiaofan, insignificant mortal, now that you are in front of me, behave obediently and let me order you around, it will be fine. If you have any evil thoughts, I have at least 1,000 ways to make you wish you were dead." With that said, Son of Heaven grabbed with his right hand. A mass of air condensed in his palm and compressed to a high degree, forming an air bomb. The power of this air bomb could almost kill an immortal. Amazing. This Son of Heaven is really amazing. With just a few tricks, he can almost kill an immortal in an instant. Any mortal in front of him will be turned into ashes. Xiaofan secretly praised in his heart. However, the expression on his face did not change. He did not respond and only slightly lowered his head. He, a female immortal in black clothes giggled. She had voluptuous breasts and large buttocks. Her eyebrows and the corners of her eyes gave off an unrestrained aura. Brother Son of Heaven, don't scare this mortal kid silly. He, look at him now, he is so scared that he doesn't even dare to speak. Ha 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 ha, the group of immortals roared with laughter. Then, they stared at Xiaofan aggressively. The current situation was like a sheep that had entered a wolf's den. He was coveted by a pack of wolves. They are treating me, Xiaofan, as the flesh of Tang Sanzang. Xiaofan lowered his head speechlessly. Son of the Heavens, that brat Xiaofan seems to be very slippery. Even though he has fallen into our hands, for the sake of safety, I hope that Son of the Heavens can use some tricks to control that ant. A one-eyed celestial said to the Son of the Heavens. I already have a plan. Son of Heaven smiled coldly. Now, I'll make some preparations. In a moment, I'll cast a special celestial art on Xiaofan. This celestial art can forcibly plant an enslavement mark in Xiaofan's soul. This way, this ant will never be able to resist me for the rest of his life. He can only be my slave. Even if I ask him to kill his parents, he won't even bat an eyelid. However, this immortal technique is very rare and I rarely use it. Now, I will carve some immortal talismans. After saying that, Son of Heaven sat down cross-legged. All of you, keep an eye on this kid. Don't let him escape. Son of Heaven, don't worry. He is just a mortal. He won't be able to run away even if we let him. Son of Heaven nodded. Then, he concentrated and waved his hands continuously. In front of him, immortal chi rose in spirals and strange immortal runes were outlined one after another. Chapter 584. An immortal cloud leisurely floated in the sky of the eastern domain. Above the cloud stood a group of immortals and Xiaofan. At this moment, Heaven's Son was concentrating on drawing immortal runes. Strings of jade immortal talismans flickered between his hands. Each jade immortal talisman contained a profound immortal aura. Moreover, there was a subtle connection between each jade immortal talisman. It was as if these immortal talismans, when linked together, formed an essay of the immortal world. A complete elegiac text. The eyes of the group of immortals were filled with amazement and admiration as they watched Heaven's Son cast the technique. Big Brother Heaven's Son's elegiac text is written so naturally. Some immortals couldn't help but blurt out. Xiaofan was also quietly observing Heaven's Son's actions. Although Xiaofan couldn't understand the content of the elegiac text, he could feel that there was a kind of domineering intent in the elegiac text that could drive all things. Could it be that after this immortal text is completed, it can enslave all things? Directly enter my soul, erase myself, and make me a slave of Heaven's Son? This is similar to the extinguishing heaven and earth mental art that I cultivate. However, my extinguishing heaven and earth mental art isn't so complicated, so there's no need to write any elegiac text. Xiaofan's mind flashed. I must escape before Heaven's Son finishes writing the elegiac text. Otherwise, he does have the ability to forcibly plant an enslavement mark in my soul. Xiaofan had the thought of retreating. At this moment, although he didn't have Jia Lanzi's backing, Xiaofan's dual attribute immortal physique was enough for him to go all out against this group of immortals. As a thought flashed through his mind, Xiaofan carefully released his spiritual wave to observe the immortals who were monitoring him. In fact, the immortals who were mainly responsible for monitoring Xiaofan were now. Their minds were not on Xiaofan. They were all watching the immortal text written by Heaven's Son with fascination. That's right, Xiaofan was just a mortal. They thought that even if Xiaofan escaped, he would never be able to escape from their palms. After all, the gap between mortals and immortals was too big. Even the difference between heaven and earth was not enough to describe it. They are indeed very disdainful of me. Xiaofan had already expected this attitude from the immortals. Xiaofan immediately began to think about how to break out of the encirclement and escape with his life. The southern region. ***** Mountain Range Pure Cloud Sect. At this time, everything in the sect was as usual. All the disciples of the sect were cultivating their true qi. Wu Yu and Yan Lang were discussing some problems related to elixirs. Xiao Mingchu, Dongfang Qin, Fang Ling and the other core members of the Pure Rain sect also cultivated on their own, not daring to slack off. With the help of the immortal pills that Xiaofan retrieved from the genius zone and the godly medicine that Yan Lang refined, most of the core members of the Pure Cloud sect had cultivated their Zhenqi to the 10th stage. He opened his heavenly eye and achieved the half-immortal body. He was truly a Tower Master level figure in the secular world. However, all of them did not forget to cultivate and strive to improve themselves. Because in a few years, they would follow Xiaofan and enter the second level of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure trove. Looking for immortal fate. They were about to face countless immortals, as well as mortal elites who'd stood out among the geniuses and obtained immortal keys. Therefore, they had to cultivate, sharpen, and improve their combat power at all times. Only in this way could they have a little more capital to protect themselves. However, boom! A huge and domineering immortal qi suddenly descended. It directly enveloped the entire Pure Rain mountain range. In an instant, the huge Pure Rain mountain range seemed to be about to disintegrate and fall apart. It was as if a disaster had suddenly befallen the entire Pure Rain mountain range. Pure Rain Palace. What's going on? Wu Yu suddenly stood up. He felt that his true qi was completely suppressed by a kind of supreme power. In the face of such a powerful pressure, even with Wu Yu's ability, he actually produced a feeling of complete helplessness and even despair. It was as if an ant had suddenly encountered an ancient giant beast. Two creatures of completely different levels of life suddenly met. Yan Lang, who was drinking tea and chatting with Wu Yu, was even more suppressed by this powerful force. His face turned ashen and his body trembled. He could not control himself. In this plane, apart from Xiaofan, no one among the mortals can suppress me like this. Wu Yu's eyes suddenly narrowed. It must be an immortal. An immortal has arrived at my Pure Rain mountain range. Wu Yu immediately came to a realization. At the same time, the entire Pure Rain mountain range was shrouded in a layer of deathly gray. The vibrant mountain seemed to have turned black and white, losing all color. It seemed like the entire mountain range would turn into ashes in the next moment. Woo 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 woo. Above the Pure Rain mountain range, waves of shrill, ghostly wails and wolf-like howls could be heard, making one's hair stand on end. Then, streaks of domineering sword qi appeared. These sword qi were densely packed, forcibly cutting cracks in the void. Vaguely, some bright red color flowed out of these cracks in the void. It looked like blood. It seemed like the sky had been cut by these sword qi, and blood was gushing out like a fountain. Even the sky was cut open, and blood was flowing out. It was as if an apocalyptic disaster had appeared out of nowhere above the Pure Rain mountain range. Blood rained from the sky, ghostly wails, doomsday arrived, and the void collapsed. Sect leader Wu. Is it the demon race's attack? Is it the demon race? This atmosphere is too evil. Yan Lang was also a Tower Master who had opened his heavenly eye, but at this moment, his heavenly eye was completely closed. Wu Yu's foundation was much stronger than Yan Lang's. At this moment, the heavenly eye between his eyebrows could still release a weak light. he said in shock. No. It's not demon aura. It's sword chi and immortal aura. However, this immortal aura is filled with resentment and hatred, as well as a monstrous evil aura. Therefore, it made us feel an aura that is even more evil than demon aura. An immortal has arrived. If I'm not wrong, Xiaofan must have offended an immortal that descended here. Master, Xiaofan is in charge of the quota to enter the second level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure, and the number of immortals that descended here far exceeds the number of quotas. Therefore, Xiaofan will definitely offend some immortals. What we need to do now is not to compromise. Do not become Xiaofan's burden. Once we are threatened by an immortal, we must not yield. At a critical moment, we can kill ourselves. Suddenly, Wuyu released the true energy that had been firmly suppressed in his body. He mobilized some of it and sent a message to the entire sect and all the disciples. Disciples of the Pure Cloud sect, listen up. Now, an evil immortal has descended. Our sect's disciples, as long as they are threatened, will never compromise. Maintain your strength of character. If necessary, do not hesitate to die. In every corner of the Pure Cloud sect, Wu Yu's resolute voice began to echo. Many panic-stricken disciples were panicking. After hearing Wu Yu's voice, they quickly calmed down. There was less panic in their eyes, and more determination. At this moment, in the sky, a sword light flew over like a flying immortal. A tall, murderous figure, bathed in the sword light, flew over. Ha ha ha. Sect. This is the sect of that ant, Xiaofan, right? Ha ha ha. The divine sword sun's almost perverted, hysterical voice exploded above the Pure Cloud mountain range. The hatred contained in his voice could not be washed away even with the water of 3 rivers and 5 lakes. Not bad. I didn't expect that all the mortals in this secular sect are at the true energy realm. Among them, there are many who have cultivated their true energy to the 10th level. Very prosperous. Oh. Xiaohan's wives and his son are among them, right? Good. Good. Excellent. Today, this immortal, the divine sword sun, announces. All the disciples of the Pure Cloud sect. All die. All the women will be played by this immortal. Especially the wives of that bastard, Xiaofan. This immortal will ravage them to death. This immortal will personally cook his only flesh and blood and feed it to the dogs. Ha ha ha. Xiaofan. This immortal will let you taste the greatest pain in the world. Let you sink and die bit by bit in remorse. I will let you regret offending this immortal. Ahahaha. Far in the sky of the eastern region. Above the immortal clouds. Heaven's sun was still writing the sacrificial text of the immortal world. The densely packed and complicated immortal characters were arranged together according to a special pattern. This immortal text was about to be completed and it was at the most critical moment. Therefore, Heaven's sun was also concentrating without any distractions. As for Xiaofan, he was trying to think of a way to escape. If I use my true energy, it is almost impossible to escape under the eyes of these immortals. Using demonic techniques is tantamount to exposing my biggest secret. Since it is a matter of life and death, demonic techniques can't be used casually. It seems that I can only use my immortal body to teleport. After condensing the true immortal body, Xiaohan's body was as strong as the sun, moon, and stars. His body moved so fast that it was almost instantaneous. Moreover, if the immortal body suddenly teleported and caught off guard, these immortals might not be able to see through the secret of Xiaohan's condensed immortal body. It was very likely that they would think that Xiaofan had a magical treasure that could help him escape. After thinking about it, Xiaofan finally made up his mind. He would activate his immortal body and teleport directly. After making up his mind, Xiaofan looked around and scanned the surroundings with his psychic waves, observing the situation of the immortals. At this moment, Heaven's Son seems to have reached the final stage of writing the sacrificial text. I want to leave, and he has no time to distract me. The other immortals are a little weaker and look down on me. Their monitoring of me is very sloppy. Good. At this moment, I, Xiaofan, will calmly escape under the eyes of these immortals. I'll make them suffer. Xiaofan silently prepared himself and was ready to teleport away. At this moment, Suddenly, on the solid mental power planet in Xiaohan's Sea of Consciousness, some of the situation of the Unity Mountain Range appeared. When Xiaofan left the Pure Cloud sect, he also left some psychic waves to guard the Unity Mountain Range at any time. Therefore, at this time, once the Unity Mountain Range encountered a crisis of life and death, Xiaofan would be able to know the situation as soon as possible. At this moment, in Xiaohan's Sea of Consciousness, the crazed and hysterical figure of the Divine Sword Prince appeared. His distorted facial features, his monstrous evil aura, and his voice was filled with curses and hatred. Not bad. I didn't expect that all the mortals in this secular sect are at the true Qi realm. Among them, there are many who have cultivated their true Qi to the 10th level. How prosperous. Oh. Xiaohan's wives and his son are among them, right? Good. Good. Very good. Today, this immortal, the Divine Sword Prince, announces that all the disciples of the Pure Cloud sect are dead. All the women will be played by this immortal. Especially the wives of that bastard Xiaofan. This immortal will ravage them to death. This immortal will personally cook his only flesh and blood and feed it to the dogs. Ha 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 ha. Xiaofan. This immortal will make you taste the greatest pain in the world. I will make you sink and die bit by bit in regret. I will make you regret offending this immortal. Ah ha 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 ha. Damn it. I'll kill you. Suddenly, Xiaofan stood up. His aura skyrocketed, and he shouted angrily. Chapter 585. At this moment, Xiaohan's rage was indescribable and unimaginable. His emotions had reached the pinnacle of anger in his life. Murderous intent filled the air. He had never wanted to tear someone into pieces like this before. The words spoken by the Divine Sword Prince in the Pure Mountain Range and his roar had completely touched Xiaohan's bottom line. The Divine Sword Prince actually threatened to destroy the entire Pure Mountain Range and even wanted to rape Xiaohan's wife and cook Xiaohan's son. At this moment, regardless of whether the Divine Sword Prince was a human, an immortal, a demon, or a demon, Xiaohan swore to kill him. All of a sudden, Xiaohan stood up and cursed angrily. Trash! Why are you barking here? Get lost! The immortal standing next to Xiaohan had been paying attention to Emperor Heaven's drawing the immortal runes, but they didn't take Xiaohan seriously at all. Now, Xiaohan suddenly stood up and cursed angrily, causing these immortals to be both surprised and anxious. He scolded Xiaohan, "You dog! Why didn't you just stay here and wait for Big Brother Heaven's Son to finish writing the sacrificial rites to refine your soul and turn you into a slave? Why are you shouting now? Kneel down. Do your duty as a dog." Xiaohan, on the other hand, did not listen to these immortals at all. His heart had already returned to the Pure Mountain Range. All of you, get lost. All of a sudden, Xiaohan let out a roar, and his entire body moved. Boom boom boom. Rumble. In less than 1,000th of a second, Xiaohan had forcibly torn open the space crystal barrier and escaped far away. Presumptuous! How dare you escape under our eyes? The moment Xiaohan escaped, several immortals finally reacted. They immediately stretched out their hands to grab Xiaohan back. Unexpectedly, Xiaohan's immortal body teleported at an extremely fast speed, causing their hands to fail to catch Xiaohan. Huh! There's actually immortal energy emitting from him. Emperor Heaven suddenly stopped writing the inscription and directly grabbed the direction where Xiaofan escaped. Hong Emperor Heaven's grasp. The entire space seemed to have frozen, and there was even a feeling of time going backwards. Thousands of miles of air and space. They were all destroyed by Emperor Heaven's grasp. Roar. During the process of teleporting, Xiaofan suddenly felt an enormous pressure behind him. It was like a primordial beast had descended and was about to devour him, causing him to feel a chill down his spine. Xiaofan was well aware that it was the tyrannical Son of Heaven who had made his move. However, Xiaofan was eager to return. No matter who it was, they would not be able to stop him. Get lost! Xiaofan roared. Dual attribute immortal body. He pushed his energy to the limit and darted forward, barely dodging Heaven's Son's grasp. The Emperor of Heaven's grasp missed. Damn it! At this moment, the Son of Heaven's mind was in a mess and he couldn't help but curse. Suddenly, the immortal characters that he had drawn with great effort actually collapsed and were completely destroyed, turning into nothingness. One had to know that this immortal text that could enslave all living things. It had to be completed in one go, without any pause in the middle. Heaven Son of Heaven watched Xiaofan escape right under his nose. It was the same as losing a duck that was already in his grasp. Given his conceit, he couldn't help but jump up and stop writing the immortal text. Son of Heaven, he escaped. A large group of immortals murmured in an incredulous tone. How is this possible? Just now, his speed was as fast as an immortal, and there was clearly immortal chi flowing out of his body. There were traces of an immortal body being condensed. But that's not right. When we caught him just now, we used our immortal senses to scan his body. It's just a mortal body. He didn't condense an immortal body. That's not right. When we caught him just now, we used our immortal senses to scan his body. A bunch of trash. Heaven Son of Heaven was furious. His body suddenly erupted with an invincible aura, causing many immortals standing on the immortal cloud to fly away. What immortal physique? A mortal condensed an immortal physique in the secular world? Are your heads clamped between the door planks? It must be that bastard, Jia Lanzi, who gave an escaped Dharma treasure to that little bastard, Xiaofan. No wonder Jia Lanzi allowed us to take Xiaofan away. Chase! We must catch Xiaofan again at all costs. Damn it! This time, when we catch Xiaofan, I will make him hover between life and death. The Firmament Emperor howled and led a group of immortals in the direction that Xiaofan had escaped to in an aggressive manner. Boom! Xiaofan's immortal physique had been deduced to the extreme. With the speed of teleportation, he returned to his own sect, the Pure Cloud sect. Right now, Xiaofan's eyes were almost burning and his killing intent had been brewed to the extreme. Calm down. Calm down. My current speed is not inferior to the teleportation ability of an immortal. I can rush back in time. However, Xiaofan also reminded himself to restrain himself and remain calm and collected. At this moment, Jia Lanzi's voice suddenly reached Xiaofan's sea of consciousness. Brother Xiao, I know what happened in the Pure Cloud mountain range. However, Brother Xiao, please don't panic. I left an immortal sense imprint in the Pure Cloud mountain range and can return in an instant. The Divine Sword Sun. He will never hurt anyone in the Pure Cloud sect. Moreover, that evil creature, the Divine Sword Sun, will definitely die. Brother Jia Lanzi, please help me trap the pursuers. I will personally kill the Divine Sword Sun. Xiaofan immediately sent a message to Jia Lanzi. Alright. The Divine Sword Sun is indeed a man who will bring about his own destruction. His grade has fallen and his immortal strength has fallen to the standard of a level 1 true immortal. If Brother Xiao wants to kill him, it is more than enough. Then, I will use a small magical treasure to set up an illusion to trap Heaven's Son and the others first. After Brother Xiao kills the Divine Sword Sun, I will meet up with Brother Xiao. Thank you, Brother Jialanzi. Xiaofan's body turned into a stream of light and shot towards the pure cloud mountain range. Behind Xiaofan, a large group of immortals were full of killing intent. They urged their immortal qi and chased after Xiaofan with the speed of teleportation. However, at this moment, boom! 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 A huge immortal pillar descended from the four corners of the north, south, east, and west. On top of each pillar, there were runes engraved on it. A kind of reversal of time and space, a trace of chaotic space, trapped Heaven's Son and the other immortals. Magical treasure? Heaven's Son was slightly stunned. Then, he led the immortals to charge left and right, but they were still unable to rush out of the area covered by the four immortal pillars. Damn it! It must be Jialanzi's doing. All of them took out their magical treasures and immortal techniques to break this illusion. Jialanzi, this idiot, in order to protect Xiaofan, he actually used such a magical treasure. This magical treasure should have been given to him by his sect for him to use in the second floor of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure, right? But it was wasted here. No matter, let's break this magical treasure first. Xiaofan, this evil creature. As long as he is still in this plane, he will not be able to escape from our palms. Under Heaven's Son's command, dozens of immortals each used their immortal techniques to attack the immortal pillars. Pure Cloud Mountain Range. The huge Pure Cloud Mountain Range. It was shrouded in a dark and austere atmosphere. The Divine Sword Sun stood in the void with his hands behind his back. The corner of his mouth was pulled into an incomparably ferocious smile. In his eyes, there was a kind of pleasure of revenge. Kill all the men. Ravage all the women. Especially Xiaofan's wives. Kill all of them. Xiaoan, don't cry. Mo Qingtong hugged her son and gently stroked his smooth and tender cheeks. Then, she raised her head and looked at Princess Mo Hen, Jing Yanxue, and Lan Shirong. Sisters, we are all Xiaofan's women. We are all Xiaofan's women. This time, this immortal has come to our door and wants to humiliate us. We must not let Xiaofan lose face. Later, we will end it ourselves. After saying that, Mo Qingtong looked at her son in her arms. 2 lines of tears uncontrollably fell down. This immortal Jialanzi, once left a spiritual mark in our pure cloud mountain range. Wu Yu raised his eyes to the sky and said in a clear voice. If there is any danger in our pure cloud mountain range, Immortal Jialanzi will lend a helping hand. I hope this immortal will not be too unscrupulous. Ha ha ha. The Divine Sword Sun laughed wildly. Jialanzi? Ha ha ha. Yes, if Jialanzi is here, he can indeed protect you. However, at this moment, Jialanzi is being entangled by the Son of Heaven. I'm afraid Xiaofan has also been captured. Who do you think can protect you? Forget it, kill tens of thousands of people first and bathe this pure cloud mountain range in blood. As he spoke, every pore on the Divine Sword Sun's body blossomed with supreme sword intent. Many profound sword principles were brewing. Needless to say, once the Divine Sword Sun unleashed his sword qi, this pure cloud mountain range would be filled with rivers of blood and corpses. At this critical moment. Divine Sword Sun. Xiaofan's indifferent voice suddenly appeared behind the Divine Sword Sun. Xiaofan. The Divine Sword Sun was shocked and quickly turned around. He saw Xiaofan walking in the void, walking towards the Divine Sword Sun step by step. Finally, Xiaofan returned to the pure cloud mountain range right before the Divine Sword Sun began his massacre. At this moment, Xiaofan had completely concealed the aura of his immortal body. The spirit turtle true qi wrapped around him flawlessly. Xiaofan. You actually returned. Jialanzi. Where's Jialanzi? The divine sword son was terrified. He was like a bird startled by the mere twang of a bow. He was afraid that Xiaofan and Jialanzi would return together. In the blink of an eye, the divine sword son scanned with his immortal sense. Phew, Xiaofan, so you returned to the pure cloud mountain range alone. The divine sword son carefully scanned the surrounding 10,000 li but did not find Jialanzi's aura. His heart calmed down and the panic in his eyes turned ferocious. Xiaofan. You bastard. You caused my grade to drop. You came back empty-handed. Originally, you relied on Jialanzi's protection. This immortal really could not kill you. I could only kill the people around you to vent my anger. However, since you came back so eagerly, then this immortal will kill you. Since this immortal could not enter the second floor of the immortal emperor's treasure, I might as well kill you. So that all the immortals who came to this plane, whether it was Jialanzi or Heaven's Son, could not enter the second floor of the immortal emperor's treasure. Ha ha ha. If worst comes to worst, after this immortal returns to the immortal world, I will roam the world and avoid the pursuit of Jialanzi and Heaven's Son. Ha ha ha. In the eyes of the divine sword son, there was an almost perverted joy. As for Xiaofan, his face was cold. He turned a deaf ear to the words of the divine sword son. He walked straight towards the divine sword son and said coldly, Divine sword son, you are the first immortal that I, Xiaofan, have killed with my own hands. I will blast you into pieces. Your immortal body will be reduced to ashes. Chapter 586. Xiaohan's entire body was filled with a murderous aura that was as violent as lava. He flew through the air and walked towards Shenjianzi step by step. However, Xiaofan still did not release any aura of an immortal. This caused Shenjianzi to repeatedly scan with his immortal sense, but he still thought that Xiaofan was just a mortal. The entire Nine Peaks mountain range was also silent. Everyone's eyes were focused on Xiaofan and Shenjianzi. Moreover, everyone was worried for Xiaofan. Xiaohan's entire body is filled with murderous aura. He actually wants to use his own strength to kill this immortal in front of him. Wu Yu was filled with shock. Although the entire Nine Peaks sect regarded Xiaofan as their spiritual leader, and during the battle to repel the demon army from the foreign plains, Xiaofan had displayed an unparalleled domineering aura that was unstoppable even against millions of enemies. However, at this moment, Xiaofan was facing an immortal. A real immortal. A mortal killing an immortal, this had never happened in any history, in any unofficial history, or in any legend. It was absolutely impossible for this to happen. This was a battle between two life forms that were as different as heaven and earth. It was impossible for a miracle to happen. No. Xiaofan. Don't take the risk and fight with an immortal. Wu Yu was almost roaring. Unfortunately, under the suppression of the auras of the Divine Sword Master and Xiaofan, the people of the Pure Cloud sect, from the Crow tribe to the ordinary disciples, were all suppressed, unable to speak. However, strange sounds could be heard coming from their throats. Jialanzi. Immortal Jialanzi. Quick, come and help. Everyone in the Nine Peaks sect roared in their hearts. Above the void. Shenjianzi was also extremely cautious. He was afraid that Jialanzi was secretly protecting Xiaofan. After all, he had suffered a great loss in Jialanzi's hands. Once bitten, twice shy. However, when his immortal sense spread out, it covered an area of hundreds of thousands of miles. There was no trace of Jialanzi's aura. Gradually, Shenjianzi also relaxed. He looked at Xiaofan with an extremely exaggerated expression and let out a hysterical roar. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. I know. I know. It must be Emperor Tsang and the others. You trapped Jialanzi so that he could not protect you, Xiaofan, you little evil creature. Ha ha ha. And Xiaofan, you couldn't just sit back and watch the safety of your family and fellow disciples. Therefore, you rushed back to die. Ha 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 ha. This is called Heaven's Net has long arms, but nothing escapes. Xiaofan. Today, I want you dead. Heaven's Net has a long way to go. Xiaofan was getting calmer and calmer. Yes, it's true that Heaven's Net has long arms, but it never escapes. Divine Sword Son, you have committed countless crimes in the mortal world. Today, you will be punished. Let's settle it all together. You must die, and so must Heaven's Son and the other unforgivable immortals. Any immortal who comes to the mortal world and wants to trample on mortals as he pleases. All of them will perish here. Ha ha ha, is there something wrong with his brain? Ha ha ha. The Divine Sword Master threw his head back and roared with laughter. He laughed so hard that tears were about to come out of his eyes. Insignificant mortal, inferior to pigs and dogs, you actually dare to say that you want to slaughter immortals? Ha ha ha. Although this immortal's rank has fallen to the first level of the true immortal realm, I still want to kill you, Xiaofan. In other words, it's just a thought. Jia Lanzi probably gave you some immortal treasures, which is why you dare to be so arrogant here. However, a mere mortal, even if you have a supreme immortal treasure, you definitely can't unleash its true power. Xiaofan. If you kneel in front of me and kowtow, I can give you a dignified death. Otherwise, I will ravage your 4 wives in front of you and make them suffer. You took turns to ravage them, making them wish they were dead. Your son. The Divine Sword Child completely disregarded Xiaofan. No matter how powerful a mortal was, he could not pose any threat to an immortal. While Divine Sword Son was talking non-stop, humiliating Xiaofan to his heart's content, Xiaofan had already approached Divine Sword Son. All of a sudden, Xiaofan let out a roar. Divine Sword Son, you piece of sh*t. Die. At the same time, Xiaofan's immortal physique aura was no longer suppressed. The radiance of the dual attribute immortal physique suddenly bloomed. Divine rays of light rolled, and Xiaofan's entire body seemed to become tall, invincible, and dominating everything. Above Xiaofan's head, the veins of the immortal realm appeared. A deep spacetime wormhole appeared above Xiaofan's head, connecting to the immortal realm. What? In an instant, Divine Sword Son's body shook violently, and he fell into a completely unbelievable whirlpool of confusion. Immortal physique? Such a powerful immortal physique? What? What is this? The moment Xiaofan released the power of his immortal physique, his right fist had already punched toward Divine Sword Son. This punch was not held back at all. This punch was a punch that Xiaofan had prepared for a long time, a punch that concentrated the power of his immortal physique. This punch had reached the peak of the attack power of an ordinary level, for true immortal. This punch had the terrifying power of 40 immortal dragons. Dragons and snakes coiled around the fist, and electricity crackled. It was as if a world of lightning from the immortal world was brewing within it, capable of devouring and ripping apart everything. This punch was like the descent of a demon god, the birth of heaven, the beginning of chaos, the roar of heavenly dragons, the apocalypse. This was definitely not the power of a mortal, but the pure power of an immortal. Caught off guard, coupled with the shock, Xiaofan's punch, which had been at its peak, actually landed on the body of the Divine Sword Prince. Hong! Thousands of mushroom clouds bloomed from Divine Sword Son's body. From inside his body, there was even the terrifying sound of thunder and the collapse of the world. Pfft! In an instant, Divine Sword Son's eyeballs popped out of their sockets. Then, numerous cracks appeared on his face and body. The next moment, bam! 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 Divine Sword Son's immortal physique fell apart like broken jade tiles, shattered, and shot out in all directions. Immortal blood sprayed everywhere like water from a well. It was broken. Blown up. With one punch, Xiaofan had blown up Divine Sword Sun's immortal physique. The entire mountain range was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. In the end, no one expected Xiaofan to be able to blow up an immortal with one punch. Moreover, there were even clouds of immortal qi rising from Xiaofan's body just now. Xiaofan's body seemed to have transcended the scope of a mortal body, which was completely incomprehensible to Crow and the others. And at this moment, Xiaofan. But he was also relatively calm. Because Xiaofan knew that with his full strength, the ultimate power of 40 immortal dragons, he could definitely kill an immortal. Divine Sword Sun's rank had already fallen, and his strength had sharply decreased. In addition, he was completely unprepared, so it was reasonable for him to be killed by Xiaofan. So, this is the feeling of blowing up an immortal? Although he was calm. At this moment, Xiaofan's heart was still a little surprised and a little strange. So, killing an immortal is not a big deal. Although the immortal physique is impregnable. But it can also be smashed like an egg. Cool. This feeling is really cool. After Divine Sword Sun was blown up, the fragments of his immortal physique scattered in all directions like pieces of broken glass gems, sparkling, and rippling in the sky above the mountain range, like a dreamy starry radiance. This was the life of an immortal. After the end, the only evidence of his existence was fleeting, like a shooting star. Many disciples of the pure cloud sect stared at the starlight in a daze. An immortal has fallen. He was a supreme immortal. He has fallen into our mortal world. At this moment, among the fragments of the immortal physique that filled the sky, a sea blue ring was shining brightly. Xiaofan scanned it with his mind. Storage ring? An immortal storage ring? In the next moment, Xiaofan stretched out his hand and grabbed the air. This storage ring was firmly grasped in his hand. At this moment, buzz buzz buzz, something strange happened. The demon monarch's palm tattoo on Xiaofan's left arm actually transmitted waves of soul throbbing. Puff! The demon monarch's palm on his left arm that was firmly suppressed by Xiaofan suddenly appeared. The densely packed tentacles extended in all directions and actually caught all the fragments of the immortal physique that were scattered in the sky. Like a spider web catching insects. Then, something that shocked Xiaofan even more happened. Those sticky tentacles all caught all the fragments of the immortal physique in the sky and then, devoured them. The Divine Sword Prince's exploded immortal physique was absorbed by Xiaofan's demon monarch's tentacles. Boom! 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 The fragments of the immortal physique were refined one after another and became nourishment for the demon monarch's palm. This caused the demonic veins of Xiaofan's left arm demon monarch's palm to awaken again. The quality of the demon monarch's palm changed again and again. What? After my demon monarch's palm was modified by the demon gods last time, it absorbed and refined a large amount of essence of the demon monarch's corpse from the other planes. There were many changes, and now it can even forcibly refine and absorb the corpse of an immortal. Xiaofan deeply felt that when the demon monarch's palm refined the fragments of the Divine Sword Prince's immortal physique, the nourishment it received was much more abundant than when it refined the corpse of the demon clan's army from the other planes. This caused the number of awakened demonic veins in Xiaofan's left arm demon monarch's palm to break through from 80 million to 100 million within a few breaths. At this moment, Xiaofan frowned slightly and swept his mind. The aura of Jia Lanzi was sweeping over from hundreds of thousands of miles away. Xiaofan made a prompt decision and immediately activated the spirit turtle true qi to seal the aura of the demon monarch's palm. He also completely retracted the demon monarch's palm. Brother Xiao, the Divine Sword Prince has been killed, right? Jia Lanzi's voice came from afar. Xiaofan said calmly. The Divine Sword Prince deserved to die. He was already blown up by my punch. The immortal physique turned into powder. Whoosh, a cool breeze swept past, and Jia Lanzi had already arrived in front of Xiaofan. Brother Xiao, Sun Tsang and the others have been temporarily trapped by me, Jia Lanzi smiled and then said after a pause. Just now, I seem to feel a faint demonic aura, demonic aura? Xiaofan pretended to be surprised and said. To be honest, Brother Jia Lanzi, I had some fortuitous encounters in the past and knew a little bit of the demon clan's techniques. But now that my immortal physique has been formed, that little bit of demonic aura has long been thrown beyond the clouds. Could it be that when I killed the Divine Sword Prince just now, I released a little bit of the demon clan's techniques in my aura? At this moment, Xiaohan's immortal physique was strong, and his entire body was as still as a mountain. His body emitted the aura of treasures. It was really difficult to associate him with the demon clan. Jia Lanzi did not ask further and nodded. Brother Xiao, in a while, Sun Tsang and the others will be free. Let's take our time to think about how to deal with those despicable people. Chapter 587. Xiaohan took advantage of the moment when the Divine Sword Prince was unprepared and punched him into powder. However, what surprised Xiaohan the most after killing the Divine Sword's son was that the countless tentacles of the monarch beast left arm that had evolved were able to capture the fragments of the immortal body and refine them. Moreover, after refining the immortal body fragments, they were very effective in nourishing the left arm demon emperor palm. It could awaken countless demon veins in the left arm demon emperor palm. Increase demon power. This was no small matter. However, at this time, Jia Lanzi rushed over, forcing Xiaohan to give up on the in-depth study of the left arm demon emperor palm. Instead, he used the spirit turtle true qi to wrap the demonic qi in his left arm and gave a perfunctory reply to Jia Lanzi. Fortunately, Jia Lanzi did not pursue the matter further. Moreover, Jia Lanzi invited Xiaohan to discuss how to deal with Heaven's Son and the other immortals. Then, Brother Jia Lanzi, please come to the inner sanctum. Xiaohan smiled. After the death of the Divine Sword Prince, the entire inner sanctum returned to its usual peace and tranquility. Xiaohan, Jia Lanzi, Wu Li, and the others gathered in the inner sanctum. At this time, Xiaohan could vaguely feel that the left arm demon emperor palm was secretly devouring and refining the immortal body fragments of the Divine Sword Prince. It was constantly evolving. It was really amazing. Thank you, Brother Jia Lanzi, for holding off Heaven's Son and the other immortals for me so that I could personally kill God's Sword Prince. Xiaohan expressed his gratitude. Brother Xiao, you're welcome. Jia Lanzi frowned slightly. However, Brother Xiao, Heaven's Son and the other immortals are now making it clear that they want to control you. This makes it difficult for us to give out the quota to enter the second layer of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure. Although Heaven's Son and the other immortals are temporarily trapped, they will be able to kill their way out of the illusion soon. In this way, they will definitely hunt you down. They will definitely not let you go. Yes. Xiaohan nodded in agreement. No matter where I hide in the inner sanctum, they will definitely hunt me down. Even if I hide in the Devil Hero region or even roam the world, I will still be hunted down by Heaven's Son and the other despicable immortals. They are determined to kill me. This. Jia Lanzi's brows were also tightly knitted together. He used his right index finger to lightly tap the table. His entire person had also sunk into deep thought. After a few dozen breaths, Jia Lanzi finally spoke. Brother Xiao, I have thought of a few ways to deal with the Firmament Emperor. Now, tell me about it so that Brother Xiao can study it. Brother Jia Lan, please speak, Xiaohan said at once. The first method is for me to invite a group of immortals to fight against Heaven's Son. If necessary, he would kill Heaven's Son and the other immortals. The second method is for me to help Brother Xiao leave this plane and reach the vast universe or other planes in the mortal world. Hearing this, Xiaohan also pondered for a few breaths. He then shook his head slightly. Brother Jialan, these two methods aren't a foolproof plan. The first method was to fight against the Heaven Emperor. This way, the space crystal wall of the mortal world would be destroyed. They would inevitably be blasted apart. The aftermath of the battle would also cause the death of countless creatures. The second method is to hide, but this is also not a long-term solution. As the saying goes, a monk can run away, but the temple can't. If I run away, then with the nature of wolves like Heaven Emperor, they might threaten my family and relatives like the Divine Sword Sun. They might even kill their way into the Wuxia Tower and slaughter the elites of my plane. I can't possibly take away all the creatures in the entire plane, can I? This. Jia Lanzi heard this and kept nodding. Obviously, Xiaofan's concerns were not completely unreasonable. Brother Xiao, we can't fight or hide. Are we going to give the quota to these ambitious fellows? The quota definitely can't be given to Heaven Emperor and the others, Xiaofan said decisively. The quota should belong to kind immortals like the marvelous mathematician and Tao Tai. I don't care how the quota for other planes is distributed, but when they come to my plane, they must be honest and test their character. After a pause, a strange light flashed in Xiaofan's eyes. This little brother has an idea, oh? Jia Lanzi and Wu Yu both turned to look at Xiaofan. Brother Xiao has always been full of tricks. Please tell me. Jia Lanzi looked at Xiaofan with a serious face. Why don't I make a bet with Heaven Emperor and the others? Xiaofan suddenly said. A bet? Jia Lanzi and Wu Bingyao were both shocked. Yes, a bet. Xiaofan had a look of planning before taking action. Brother Jia Lanzi, you will be in charge of this matter and inform the immortals of the bet. From now on, I will hide in this plane. Heaven Emperor and the others can find me at will. If they can capture me within half a year, then I admit defeat and am willing to give them 100 quotas to enter the second floor of Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure. These 100 quotas will be distributed by them. However, if they can't capture me within this half a year, then all of their quotas to enter the second floor of Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure will be revoked and they will immediately go back to the immortal world. Xiaofan hid in the plane of mortals. Let Heaven Emperor and the others search. Half a year. Jia Lanzi was stunned and immediately fell into deep thought. Also, Brother Jia Lanzi, please tell Heaven Emperor and the others that within this half a year, they must not cause any damage to the plane or harm the living beings of the plane. Otherwise, the bet will be cancelled and I will not give them the quotas to enter the second floor of Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure. Xiaofan said seriously. Xiaofan was also taking a risk with this bet. Given the current situation, Heaven Emperor and the other evil immortals were already in a situation where they would not rest until Xiaofan was dead. They would definitely not let this matter rest. Xiaofan had some scruples. It was inconvenient for him to fight and he could not run away. Therefore, he could only think of such a bet to restrain Heaven Emperor and the other immortals. Moreover, Xiaofan already knew that his Demon Emperor left arm could devour the corpses of immortals and obtain the opportunity to evolve. In this way, Xiaofan vaguely had a plan to slaughter immortals and continuously feed the Demon Emperor left arm palm. Such a plan was very bold. Using the corpses of immortals to nourish the Demon Emperor left arm was tantamount to a heinous crime and an insult to the entire immortal world. Even if Jia Lanzi knew about this, he would definitely intervene. However, in order to increase his combat strength, Xiaofan did not care at all. Only with tyrannical strength could he win his dignity. At the very least, he could protect his family and loved ones. Therefore, Xiaofan must stay away from Jia Lanzi's protection and kill the evil immortals under Heaven Emperor one by one in order to realize this bold and heaven-defying plan. Vaguely, Xiaofan also guessed that as long as there were enough immortal corpses to nourish the Demon Emperor left arm palm, then the Demon Emperor left arm palm would evolve to a whole new level. Brother Xiao, this is really too risky. Jia Lanzi slightly frowned. However, I can always protect Brother Xiao in the dark, that's not necessary. Xiaofan tactfully refused. Brother Jia Lanzi, if you protect me from the side, this bet will lose its fairness. Heaven Emperor and the others will definitely not agree to it. Moreover, I also want to use this half a year to properly sharpen myself so that I can improve again. In order to make the final preparations for entering the second layer of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure a few years later. When he heard that Xiaofan did not need his protection in the dark, Jia Lanzi also hesitated. Brother Xiao, Heaven Emperor is extremely cruel and cunning like an old fox. If you're not careful and fall into his hands, I'm afraid, Xiaofan smiled casually. Brother Jia Lanzi, Heaven Emperor is indeed extraordinary, but I'm not bad either, right? I have a dual attribute immortal physique, and my physical strength has reached 40 immortal dragon strength. Moreover, Heaven Emperor and the others have yet to discover this secret. In this way, it's equivalent to me being in the dark while Heaven Emperor and the others are in the light. Moreover, I have the ability to conceal my own aura, which is considered to be unique. As he spoke, Xiaohan's entire body was filled with spirit turtle true qi, and his entire aura became like stone and wood, indistinct. I have the intention to blend into the mortal world. Even if Heaven Emperor and the others use their immortal senses to scan, they may not be able to find me. Xiaohan's two greatest assets were: first, the dual attribute immortal physique, second, the spirit turtle true qi. These were his assets on the surface. In addition, he had a mental strength that was comparable to an immortal's, which allowed Xiaofan to anticipate the enemy's every move, and the demon monarch palm that was hidden deeply. These few trump cards also gave Xiaofan a little confidence in dealing with Heaven Emperor and the other immortals. If I can safely survive this half a year and win this bet, then I will once again ascend and transform. Xiaofan said decisively. At this moment, Wuyu, who had been silent all this while, also spoke seriously. Brother Jia Lanzi, Xiaofan grew up in the Pure Cloud sect. From a living target, he became the current master of the plane. His life has been extremely legendary, and he does not lose to any immortal. During this period, Xiaofan has also experienced various experiences, and many times he was on the verge of death. However, every time he was in danger, Xiaofan was able to escape. And every time he escaped danger, Xiaofan was able to greatly improve. This time, I have a vague feeling that Xiaofan will succeed in the bet with Heaven Emperor and the other evil immortals. Jia Lanzi thought for a few breaths and finally nodded. If that's the case, Brother Xiao should be careful. In order for Heaven Emperor to agree to this bet, I will not secretly protect Brother Xiao during this half a year. Brother Jia Lanzi, please do not worry about me. Xiaofan had completely let go of his mind and was ready to accept this experience and deal with a group of powerful immortals. Good. Now, I will go and inform Heaven Emperor and the others of this bet. Jia Lanzi nodded slightly at Xiaofan and Wuyu, then turned into a stream of light and flew away. Sect leader, if I can come out unscathed after half a year, then I will completely compete with these immortals. Xiaofan said solemnly. Chapter 588. After Xiaofan and Jia Lanzi had finished their discussion, Jia Lanzi took the lead to negotiate with Heaven Emperor and the other immortals about the bet. Watermark advertisement test, Sect Master, this disciple will be going on a long journey. During this half a year, this disciple will conceal his presence and hide in the mortal world. When the time comes, I will not return to the mountain range. Xiaofan said to Wuyu with a serious expression. Xiaofan, I know your good intentions. Wuyu also stared at Xiaofan. Other than wanting to take this opportunity to gain experience, you also want to restrain those bad immortals so that they will not harm the common people of this plane. More importantly, you want to protect the entire Cloud sect. Xiaofan, you should quickly say goodbye to your wife and son." Xiaofan was not pretentious. After this farewell, he did not know when he would be able to reunite with his wife and son. Therefore, Xiaofan also hurriedly returned to his true inheritance mountain peak. After returning home, Xiaofan held his son Xiaoan in his arms. He dotingly touched his son's smooth cheeks and told some parting words to his wives. "Don't worry, I should have enough resources to deal with Heaven Emperor and the other immortals," Xiaofan promised his wives. "I swear that I will definitely grow to the point where I can fight against immortals. In the future, I will no longer have to wander the world and suffer the pain of being separated from my family. Xiaofan, don't worry. I will take care of our son and sisters." Mo Qingtong gently held Xiaohan's hand and said softly, "Qingtong believes in you. We are all here, looking forward to your return day and night." Jing Yanxue said reluctantly. Lan Shirong and Princess Mo Hen let go of their reservations and nestled in Xiaohan's arms. "Jia Lanzi. Xiaohan. Don't think that a mere illusion can trap me," Emperor Firmament and the other immortals shouted. At this moment, they were still trapped in the illusion created by Jia Lanzi. They could not escape. Although the power of Heaven Emperor and the other immortals could definitely break this illusion, it was not something that could be done in a short period of time. Unless he used his trump card, but Emperor Tsangtian was unwilling to use his trump card in advance at a time like this. In terms of resources, Heaven Emperor was indeed not as good as Jia Lanzi. Jia Lanzi could casually throw out a magic treasure that could create an illusion to trap Heaven Emperor. However, Heaven Emperor could not easily use his magic treasures to escape. Dozens of immortals bombarded the illusionary light barrier repeatedly. Gradually, tiny cracks appeared on the barrier. One of the evil-looking immortals said, "The Firmament Sun is about to succeed." Master Heaven roared, "Xiaohan, you have guts. How dare you trick me? I swear that I'll definitely capture you and ravage you alive. Cripple that ridiculous cultivation of yours. I'll kill your entire family, old and young, into dregs. Mortals who were worse than pigs and dogs. How dare you make fun of me?" Boom! While cursing, Son of Heaven Firmament unleashed an immortal sword. He ruthlessly slashed at the illusory light membrane that was on the verge of shattering, directly blasting a hole in it. He seemed to have vented all of his anger, hatred, and killing intent towards Xiaohan. Just then, Son of Heaven. Jia Lanzi's voice suddenly resounded within the illusory light film. At the same time, Jia Lanzi arrived riding the wind and stood on a seven-colored auspicious cloud. His entire body emitted a moist luster and his appearance was solemn. "Jia Lanzi, if you insist on taking revenge on Xiaohan, or even want to start a massacre in this plane and humiliate mortals, then don't even think about getting a place to enter the second layer of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure." Roar. "Jia Lanzi. You hypocrite." After seeing Jia Lanzi, Son of Heaven Firmament became even more furious. "You actually colluded with a puny mortal to make fun of me. Jia Lanzi, I swear to fight with you. You're just relying on the sect's heritage and the fact that you have more magic treasures than me. But it doesn't matter, I also have a trump card in my hand. Let's fight. Let's see who will win and who will lose in the secular world." After pausing for a moment, Son of Heaven Firmament's eyes focused. "Jia Lanzi, let's fight and decide who will belong to Xiaohan." Jia Lanzi shook his head slightly. "Son of Heaven Firmament, you're wrong. Brother Zhao's fate is not something we can decide. I think you've misunderstood the key point. The place to enter the second layer of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure is in Brother Zhao's hands. If you dare to do anything to Brother Xiao, then Brother Xiao absolutely has the right to expel you and refuse to give you the place. This decision has been approved by my sect and the few immortal emperors above. If you're stubborn, when we return to the immortal world, you, Son of Heaven Firmament, will also be punished." Nonsense. The future of I, Son of Heaven Firmament, will not be decided by a mortal. Son of Heaven Firmament roared. Xiaolanzi, you're so dignified. You probably don't want me to enter the exploration a few years later, so you're using your official position for personal gain and asked Xiaohan to expel me. I won't be convinced by you, let's fight. The dozens of immortals in the alliance with Son of Heaven Firmament also glared at Xiaolanzi like tigers watching their prey, ready to fight. These immortals had spent countless resources of their sect and passed through strict selections to obtain the opportunity to descend to the mortal world. It was absolutely impossible for them to give up the chance to enter the second layer of the Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure. However, even if they were not convinced, these immortals, including Son of Heaven Firmament, also had hidden worries in their hearts. After all, Xiaolanzi's background was too deep. Once he used the power of his sect and even the few immortal emperors above him to suppress Son of Heaven Firmament and the others, it would indeed be somewhat troublesome. Forget it, let's cut the crap. Son of Heaven Firmament, listen carefully. Finally, Xiaolanzi said with a serious face. Regarding the place to enter the second layer of the Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure, both of us can't come to an agreement. We might as well not argue anymore. Brother Xiao is willing to make a bet with you, Son of Heaven Firmament. Bet? Son of Heaven Firmament was stunned for a moment before bursting into laughter. Xiaolanzi, are you kidding me? Bet? An ant-like mortal wants to bet with me, Son of Heaven Firmament? Ha ha ha. It seems that Xiaolanzi, you have been interacting with mortals for a long time and have some problems with your brain. What qualifications does a mortal have to bet with an immortal? Ha 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 ha. The immortals behind Son of Heaven Firmament also laughed wildly as if they had heard the funniest thing in the world. These guys. Arrogant and conceited. Foolish beyond compare. Xiaolanzi thought. He sighed with emotion. If they continue to see Brother Xiao as a weak mortal, then this bet is very likely for them to lose. Listen, Xiaolanzi's voice interrupted the unbridled laughter of Son of Heaven Firmament and the other immortals. Now, Brother Xiao will hide in the mortal world. Within half a year, you are free to search. If you can find Brother Xiao, then Son of Heaven Firmament, Brother Xiao will give you a total of 100 places to enter the second layer of the Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure. You are free to distribute them. On the contrary, if you cannot find Brother Xiao within half a year, then please return to the immortal world immediately and do not harass him. Ha! As soon as Xiaolanzi said this, Son of Heaven Firmament and the other immortals suddenly became silent. One by one. You look at me, I look at you. It was as if they could not believe Xiaolanzi's words. This bet. Son of Heaven Firmament's eyes flickered. I have already memorized Xiaohan's aura with my immortal sense. This is a mere mortal world. No matter where Xiaohan is hiding, I will find him in an instant. Xiaolanzi. Your crafty schemes cannot deceive me at all. There is something wrong with this bet. If I'm not wrong, you'll probably help Xiaohan in secret, or simply send Xiaohan to another plane, or let him rest in the vast universe for half a year. Son of Heaven Firmament, do you think I, Xiaolanzi, am such a despicable person? Xiaolanzi scolded. I will absolutely not interfere in this bet. I can also guarantee that Brother Xiao will not leave this plane. I, Xiaolanzi, have always been a man of my words and I never lie. This is something that the entire immortal world has witnessed. Xiaolanzi paused for a moment and added. Moreover, I will not give Brother Xiao any magical treasures to hide his aura. This bet is a game between you and Brother Xiao. I will absolutely not participate. Hearing this, Son of Heaven Firmament and the other immortals could not help but secretly nod their heads. Yes, Xiaolanzi's words had always been honest. He was a famous master and they had never heard of him spouting nonsense in the immortal world. Son of Heaven Firmament, during this half a year, you are not allowed to destroy this plane, let alone kill the creatures of this plane. Otherwise, the bet will be nullified. So, do you dare to make the bet? Jia Lanzi questioned. Ha ha ha. I don't dare. I, son of heaven firmament, don't dare. Why would I, son of heaven firmament, not dare to make a bet with a mere mortal? Deal. Immediately, son of heaven firmament also agreed. Jia Lanzi, when I capture Xiaofan, I hope you will not go back on your words and obstruct me again. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. He he. I, son of heaven firmament, am afraid of killing Xiaofan, but it is not that I am afraid to kill all the other creatures of this plane. Forget it, son of heaven firmament, you can search for brother Xiao in this half a year. Jia Lanzi's figure dissipated and retreated. The next moment, poof, the illusory light film that enveloped son of heaven firmament and the other immortals was directly destroyed. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, son of heaven firmament and the other immortals flew out one by one. Many immortals, with son of heaven firmament as the core, gathered together. Son of heaven firmament, this bed is very strange. Could it be a trap? A few immortals asked at the same time. Although Jia Lanzi is a hypocrite and sanctimonious, he is also a man of his word. Son of heaven firmament smiled coldly. It seems that Xiaofan wants to use this bet to restrain us so that we will not wantonly kill the mortals in this plane. You are all very familiar with Xiaofan's aura. Then, all of you, search carefully. Release your immortal senses. Even if you have to dig 3 feet into the ground, you must find Xiaofan. All right. Son of heaven firmament, don't worry. With our immortal senses, it is impossible that we cannot find Xiaofan. Tisk tsk. After we obtain 100 spots, we can wantonly extort other immortals and raise the price. Ha 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 ha. Capturing Xiaofan is a piece of cake. These 100 spots are simply at our fingertips. At the same time, Xiaofan had quietly left the Unity Mountain range. Xiaofan was wearing a green robe and did not bring any luggage with him. He left the Unity Mountain range on foot alone. Chapter 589. The bet has begun. Xiaofan murmured as he gazed at the misty mountain range. This is a game of the hunter and the hunted. However, who is the hunter and who is the prey is still unknown. Pure Cloud Sect, I will be back. In the next moment, Xiaofan strode towards the outer region of the Pure Cloud mountain range with large strides. While Xiaofan was walking, the aura of his immortal physique disappeared without a trace. Soon after, his true qi ripples and the functions of his flesh were completely sealed. Now, I look like an ordinary person who doesn't know martial arts. However, it's still not enough to deceive the heavens and Heaven's Son and the other extraordinary immortals. Then, Xiaofan's eyes flickered slightly. In the next moment, the solid mental force star in his sea of consciousness suddenly shrank. The soul fluctuations and life aura were all retracted. They were tightly shrunk into a ball. Just like that, even Xiaofan's soul fluctuations were perfectly sealed in the solid mental force star. Soon, whoosh whoosh whoosh, within the solid mental force star, a few deliberately distorted spiritual fluctuations were shot out by Xiaofan. After these few soul fluctuations were distorted, Xiaofan's temperament suddenly changed greatly. Now, Xiaofan's temperament had lost its previous liveliness and carefreeness. It was no longer domineering and unruly. Instead, it seemed very vulgar and uncouth. Had the strength of my soul mental force won't lose to ordinary immortals. Moreover, the extinguishing heaven and earth mental force also has some tricks to change the characteristics of the soul and temperament. Now, I'm just going to disguise myself a little. Heaven's Son, what can you do to me? Xiaofan's figure moved faster and faster. Gradually, he disappeared without a trace. At the same time, above the Pure Cloud mountain range, a vast immortal sense swept across. Brother Xiao is indeed mysterious. Even I can't sense Brother Xiao's existence all of a sudden. Jia Lanzi appeared in the pure cloud palace. He was indeed a man who kept his promise. Since he said that he would not interfere with the bet between Xiaohan and Heaven's Son and the others, he would definitely not interfere. Even the immortal sense mark that he left on Xiaohan's body to secretly protect Xiaohan had been completely removed. As a result, Jia Lanzi could only rely on his immortal sense to search for Xiaohan. TSK. Amazing. Marvelous. Jia Lanzi repeatedly used his immortal senses to scan Xiaohan's soul spirit aura, but he still couldn't find Xiaohan. It seems that these foolish fellows, such as the Son of Heaven, are very likely to suffer a great loss because of Brother Xiao. Immortal Jia Lanzi. At this moment, Crown Head, Xiao Mingchu, Dongfang Qin, and Fang Ling came out at the same time. Jia Lanzi smiled faintly. Sect Master Wu, everyone, for the next 6 months, I will reside in your Luoyang mountain range. Ha ha ha. Although the Firmament Son of Heaven and the others have already promised not to attack Brother Xiao during this half a year, but I'm still worried, so I decided to stay in the Luoho mountain range. I can't let despicable immortals like the Divine Sword Child come to Luoho again. Ha 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 ha, I couldn't have asked for more. He also smiled. Immortal Jia Lanzi, I've encountered some bottlenecks in my sword arts. I hope that Immortal Jia Lanzi can give me some pointers, Fang Ling suddenly said. Sure. Jia Lanzi said without hesitation. Just like that, Jia Lanzi settled down in the Luoho mountain range. In his spare time, he would play chess with Wu Ling and give pointers to the many core disciples of the Luoho sect. Of course, Jia Lanzi did not forget to cover this plain with his immortal sense to search for traces of Xiaohan. 1 month later. There were immortals floating in the void of this plain in the north, south, east, west, and the great wilderness. Eastern Domain. In the airspace of the Hai Chang Empire. The Firmament Son sat cross-legged on an immortal cloud. He activated his immortal sense and spread it out. Ripples that were visible to the naked eye appeared around the Firmament Son of Heaven's body. This was the manifestation of the Firmament Son's immortal sense being activated to the extreme. With the Firmament Son of Heaven's immortal force, once he released his immortal sense, it could instantly cover more than half of the plain. Beside the Firmament Son of Heaven, there were 3 women and 3 men sitting cross-legged, a total of 6 immortals. These 6 immortals, like the Firmament Son of Heaven, were trying their best to release their immortal sense to search for Xiaohan's whereabouts. After a long time, Big Brother Firmament Son of Heaven. A female immortal frowned. Poison Dragon Child and the others from the Western region sent a message saying that they have thoroughly searched the Western region for a month and read the soul spirit auras of more than 10 billion living beings. However, they did not find any trace of Xiaohan. The Big Dipper and the others from the southern region have also dug 3 feet into the ground and even searched the 6 Peaks mountain range for a total of 81 times. However, they did not find any trace of Xiaohan. The people we have arranged in the northern region, the Great Wilderness, and the Devil Hero region have also found nothing. Xiaohan seems to have vanished from this plane of existence. Humph. The Firmament Son of Heaven let out a cold snort, causing the space to tremble. His eyes were filled with malice and anger. A bunch of trash. Dozens of immortals have searched for an entire month and still could not find Xiaohan's whereabouts. Are we immortals going to be toyed with by a mortal ant like Xiaohan? Search for him. Convey my order and descend into the secular world. East, south, west, west, Great Wilderness, 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 city by city. Even if you have to dig 3 feet into the ground, you must find Xiaohan. In addition, seek help from the other immortals that descend and ask them to help us find Xiaohan. After a pause, Firmament's son of heaven's eyes turned. Spread the word that any immortal that descends into this realm, as long as they capture Xiaofan, Firmament's son of heaven, am willing to give them a spot to enter the second layer of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. Moreover, I, Firmament's son of heaven, will owe them a favor. Hiss. Big brother Firmament's son of heaven, a spot to search for treasures and a favor from you? This. The other immortals were all shocked. One should know that Firmament's son of heaven was definitely an outstanding genius among the younger generation in the immortal world. Although his background was not as good as Jia Lanzi's, it was still quite extraordinary. Some immortal emperors even believed that he would definitely have a great future. A favor from him was too precious. Spread the word. With a great reward, there will be brave men. I don't believe that we can't find a mere mortal. Firmament's son of heaven grinned. Eastern domain. In a small country. This country was very ordinary in the prosperous eastern domain. It was inconspicuous. In such an ordinary country, there were not even a few martial arts sections. However, even in such an inconspicuous country, there were countless people. In the streets and alleys, peddlers and servants, all kinds of life could be seen. At this time, in a county in this country, a bearded man was leisurely sitting by the window on the second floor of a restaurant, drinking his morning tea. Master Yun. Your barbecued pork buns. The waiter happily carried a plate of freshly made barbecued pork buns and obediently placed it on the table of the bearded man. The bearded man had come to this county a month ago and had been staying in this restaurant. Although he looked rough, he was a bit arrogant. Although he looked rough, he was very friendly and generous. Soon, he became a distinguished guest in the hearts of the restaurant, from the boss to the waiters. The bearded man smiled indifferently. He took out some gold and silver from his bosom and casually gave them to the waiter. The waiter's face was completely rotten from smiling and he said repeatedly, "Please enjoy your meal, please enjoy your meal." Then he grabbed the gold and silver on the table and left happily. This bearded man. It was Xiaofan in disguise. Xiaofan had deliberately changed the aura of his soul to hide from the immortal's search. However, as the master of the plane, he had built many temples in the mortal world to worship him. Many temples were built to worship him. This forced Xiaofan to change his appearance and disguise himself to fool the eyes of the common people. Therefore, he disguised himself as a rough man with a full beard, which matched his temperament at the moment. I've lived in the mortal world for a whole month. Xiaofan ate the barbecued pork buns on the plate. Every cell in his body was filled with satisfaction. I've put down my identity and everything. I've been living with peddlers and pawns all day long. Instead, my heart is getting calmer and calmer. The true acupoints in my body are getting more and more solid. Even the 71st true acupoint feels like it could burst at any time. After a pause, Xiaofan raised his eyes and looked at the sky playfully. Coincidentally, the area where Xiaofan's eyes landed was where Heaven Emperor was. Heaven Emperor, you guys have been searching for me for a month, but you can't even find my fart. Ha ha ha. I'm afraid you guys will spend half a year in vain. TSK, with Heaven Emperor as the leader, dozens of immortals can't even find a mortal like me. How ironic. Xiaofan sipped a few more mouthfuls of tea and ate a few barbecued pork buns. Then, he stretched comfortably, stood up, and said to the waiter. Sanda Z, send lunch to my room later. I'll go back and take a nap. Okay Master Yun, please help yourself. The waiter nodded and bowed. In the mortal world, Xiaofan's alias was ***. In a spacious suite, Xiaofan sat cross-legged in a small, winding garden at the back. Boom boom boom, at this moment, there was a faint sound of an undercurrent coming from Xiaofan's left arm. It was as if a violent disaster was erupting inside Xiaofan's left arm. I've finally refined it completely. Xiaofan was secretly delighted. After a month, the demon monarch left arm palm has finally refined the divine sword sun's immortal body fragment. TSK, after devouring and refining the essence of an immortal's corpse, the demon monarch left arm palm has evolved again. The demonic energy has skyrocketed. Xiaofan activated the spirit turtle true qi to seal the demonic energy in his left arm. At the same time, he released a spiritual wave into his left arm. Inside Xiaofan's left arm, it was as if a demon realm was brewing. The demonic qi within was dense and evil. The demonic veins were like evil dragons coiling around each other. It was filled with the demonic aura of ancient times. Now, after refining the divine sword sun's immortal body, the number of demon veins awakened in my demon monarch left arm palm has reached 120 million. The capacity of each demon vein has expanded to 6,000 times that of an ordinary demon emperor with a bloodline. In this way, my pure demonic energy has reached 72 trillion cauldrons, which is equivalent to the strength of 7 immortal dragons. It's also the basic strength of an ordinary level 1 true immortal. Xiaofan was also very satisfied. Then, a light of eagerness burst out from Xiaofan's eyes. Damn it, if I can kill a few more immortals to feed the demon monarch left arm palm, it'll be awesome. It seems that I can't keep hiding forever. When the time is right, I'll have to take the initiative to attack. I'll deliberately release my true aura to lure some immortals and then kill them directly. Chapter 590. Xiaofan's concealment technique was indeed extraordinary. It caused Heaven's Son and the other immortals to use their immortal senses to search this plane repeatedly for nearly a month. They had almost dug 3 feet into the ground, but they still could not find Xiaofan in the vast sea of people. Xiaofan's soul and mental strength were even stronger than the immortals like Heaven's Son. Therefore, Xiaofan's mental strength could clearly capture the immortal senses of those immortals. On the contrary, those immortals' immortal senses could not lock onto Xiaofan's mental strength. Xiaofan was in the dark while the immortals were out in the open. At this moment, strands of immortal senses swept past Xiaofan's body. Xiaofan deliberately distorted a few of his mental strength to allow these immortal senses to capture him. Naturally, these immortal senses were confused by the fake mental strength and soul aura created by Xiaofan and could not distinguish anything at all. After the immortal senses swept past the area where Xiaofan was at, they continued to sweep into the distance. Very soon, they had thoroughly filtered the entire county of this small country. Why do you have to do this? Xiaofan stretched his body lazily and returned to his room. He happily sat beside the square table and prepared to enjoy today's sumptuous lunch. For the past month, every day, there would be immortal senses sweeping through this county, this country, the 4 regions of the East, South, West, and the Great Wilderness. But I'm still sitting here without being discovered. Son of the Heaven, is this all you have? It was ironic to think about it. The immortal senses of Heaven's Son and the other immortals would appear in the area where Xiaofan was at every day. They would even sweep past Xiaofan every day. Every day, Xiaofan would leisurely sit on the 2nd floor of this restaurant and drink tea. Sometimes, he would go to the street to drink with a group of idlers and play finger-guessing games. Otherwise, he would go to the alley to play chess and chat with a group of old men. Xiaofan completely ignored the scanning of Heaven's Son and the others. There was no trace of him at all. Half a year. If I don't deliberately reveal a flaw, these guys won't be able to find me at all. Xiaofan smiled with satisfaction. After lunch, Xiaofan sat in the garden and basked in the sun. His eyes slightly narrowed as he looked up at the blue sky and murmured. It's not that I, Xiaofan, don't have any goals. To hide for half a year without being found by Heaven's Son and the others? That's not the true purpose of the bet. In the next 6 months, I, Xiaofan, will not only deal with those heartless immortals, but also fight them in the truest sense. My demon, the arch left arm palm, is hungry and thirsty. It needs a large number of immortal corpses to feed it. Right now, Xiaofan's demonic monarch left arm demonic monarch palm was unable to evolve after absorbing ordinary demonic qi or even devouring the corpses of demonic monarchs. It could be said that the demonic monarch left arm demonic monarch palm had reached a bottleneck and it was hard for it to advance. But now, the demonic sovereign left arm palm could even devour and refine the corpse of an immortal. This meant that it no longer had any bottlenecks. It was even more precious than the corpses of many ordinary demonic race sovereigns. Heaven's Son, a prodigy of the immortal world who is said to be on par with Brother Jialan. He is eager to capture me. However, if I devour him and feed him to my left arm demon god palm, then it will be fun. I wonder to what extent will my left arm demon god palm evolve to? Xiaofan's heart was getting more and more restless. He couldn't help but stick out his tongue and lick his lips. Without Brother Jialan by my side, I can actually do whatever I want without the slightest restriction. Xiaofan actually had an extremely bold idea: to kill Heaven's Son. To devour the immortal body of Heaven's Son. Moreover, this bold idea did not vanish quickly. Instead, it became more and more mature. This caused Xiaofan's killing intent towards Heaven's Son to become more and more intense. If there's nothing wrong with my spiritual force, then Heaven's immortal sense will sweep through this city every day. In other words, Heaven's Son is in the eastern region. Not only could Jialan Zi, Heaven's Son, and the other immortals remember Xiaofan's soul aura and life force through their immortal sense, Xiaofan could also use his own spiritual force to firmly remember the traces of immortal sense and life force of these immortals, making it easy to identify them. The frequency of Heaven's immortal sense and even the life force of his entire body could be detected by Xiaofan's spiritual force. There was no mistake. Xiaofan was certain that Heaven's Son was in the eastern region. Since Heaven's Son is in the eastern region, then I'll temporarily avoid him. Xiaofan decided on the next step of his plan. Although he had the idea of killing Heaven's Son, Xiaofan currently did not have enough resources to directly contend against Heaven's Son. After all, in terms of immortal force and immortal technique, Heaven's Son would not lose to Jialan Zi. He was a bright star among the younger generation of the immortal world. Xiaofan knew that even if he launched a sneak attack, he would not be able to pose any threat to Heaven's Son. Instead, he would be killed. Therefore, Xiaofan also decided to temporarily leave the eastern region and avoid Heaven's Son. Master Yun, you're leaving? The manager of the restaurant looked at Xiaofan with a face full of regret. In the past month, this extravagant tycoon had brought a lot of profit to this restaurant. Now that they heard that this master was leaving, a sense of loss welled up in the hearts of the people in the restaurant. Ha 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 ha, Xiaofan laughed out loud in a hoarse voice. His laughter was extremely heroic and it was very compatible with his current image and temperament. All good things must come to an end. I'm leaving too. Ha ha ha. After saying that, Xiaofan turned around and left in a carefree manner. Not long after Xiaofan left the county, whoosh whoosh whoosh, a few figures with indifferent auras suddenly descended, as if they were monarchs descending upon the world. The one in the lead was Heaven's Son. Big Brother Heaven's Son, that Xiaofan has hidden himself too well. We've spent a lot of effort to use our immortal sense to scan the eastern region. It's not an exaggeration to say that we've searched almost all the living beings in the eastern region, but we still couldn't find Xiaofan's whereabouts. Now, we have no choice but to enter the secular world to search for clues. That Xiaofan is really difficult to deal with. Maybe he's not even in the eastern region. A female immortal beside Heaven's Son grumbled. Heaven's Son glared at the female immortal discontentedly, causing her to keep quiet out of fear. The female immortal immediately changed the topic. Big Brother Heaven's Son, we've already sent out your order. Most of the immortals that have arrived in this plane know about it. If we capture Xiaofan, we'll get a place to enter the second floor of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure and a favor from you. As soon as this message was released, it received the support of many immortals. Now, not only us, there are at least hundreds of immortals searching everywhere for Xiaofan. Big Brother Heaven's Son, this way. We don't have to worry about not being able to capture Xiaofan. Of course, what we're most afraid of is Jia Lanzi interfering. There's no need to worry about Jia Lanzi. I know this person very well. He won't interfere. Heaven's Son smiled coldly. Alright, since we've entered the secular world, we'll carefully investigate the various countries in the eastern region. Xiaofan is extremely famous in this plane. He's known as the master of this plane. He's fully deserving of being the leader of this plane. In the secular world, temples had been built in many places to worship him. So, if Xiaofan's true body were to appear, it would be impossible for him to do so. If Xiaofan's true body appears in the secular world, it will definitely cause a commotion. However, our immortal senses are constantly monitoring this person's appearance. In the past month, there hasn't been any sensational event. There weren't any sensational events, and there weren't any waves stirring. In other words, Xiaofan, this guy, has most likely changed his appearance. Yes. What Heaven's Son said is very true. Xiaofan is most likely in disguise and mingling with the people of the secular world. He won't be discovered by anyone. The immortal standing beside Heaven's Son nodded in agreement. From now on, mobilize the mortals of this plane and begin the investigation. Search every inch of this plane. Find all the unfamiliar faces that have appeared in the secular world in the past month. Heaven's Son said with certainty. Give these mortals gold and silver. Launch a carpet search. Mobilize 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, and even 10 million mortals. I don't believe that I can't find Xiaofan in half a year. Alright, Heaven's Son, we can mobilize the manpower of some sects and empires in the secular world. We can even use the most well-informed hooligans in each city to track down the suspicious strangers that have appeared in the past month. Launch the operation immediately. Heaven's Son ordered. Xiaofan spurred his horse on and galloped for 3 days and 3 nights. He left the country he was previously in and traveled day and night, passing through 3 countries. When the sun set on the 4th day, he arrived at a prosperous empire in the eastern region, the Yanhui Empire. Yanhui Empire. Flying Heaven City. Xiaofan was leading a black horse as he walked along the main road of Flying Sky City, looking travel-worn. Flying Heaven City was very densely populated. The streets were wide enough for several horses to walk side by side. The streets were bustling with pedestrians. It was early evening and the whole city was charming. The air was filled with the fragrance of cosmetics, wine, and all kinds of delicious food. What a prosperous city! Xiaofan no longer hurried on his journey. He led his horse and walked leisurely while observing. He had completely forgotten his identity and completely immersed himself in the cheerful and peaceful atmosphere of the secular world. Although with Xiaofan's physique, he did not feel the slightest bit tired after continuously traveling for a few days, he still felt a little tired at this moment. I might as well stay in this city for a few days before leaving the eastern region. These few days, I've been observing as I hurried on my way. The aura of Heaven's celestial sense has been lingering in the eastern region and has never left. It seems like the immortals who are pursuing me have also divided their territories. Heaven's Son should be mainly in charge of the eastern region. Xiaofan continued to walk as he spread out his spiritual force to survey the situation in the city. Suddenly, Xiaofan discovered that there were a few strands of celestial qi mixed in with the crowd in the city. Although these strands of celestial qi were deliberately concealed, they could not escape the detection of Xiaofan's spiritual force. Moreover, Xiaofan was certain that one of the strands of immortal qi belonged to an immortal who worked with Emperor Chang Tian to capture and kill him in the past. At the same time, have you seen any strangers entering or leaving this inn recently? A small group of soldiers entered an inn and asked carefully. The owner of the inn pondered for a moment before shaking his head. During this period of time, all the people staying in the inn are regulars. There haven't been any unfamiliar faces. If there are any strangers entering the inn, report it immediately. You can't protect them. The soldiers gave the owner some instructions before leaving the inn. After exiting the inn, a young soldier said to a middle-aged soldier. Brother Zhang, why are we searching for unfamiliar faces all over the city? Whose idea is this? It's said that some mysterious people have appeared and offered a large sum of money to search for strangers who have appeared in our flying sky city in the past month. The middle-aged soldier said with a smile. It's said that those mysterious people are extremely generous. The money they offered is irresistible. Who cares, we're just putting on an act. It'll be best if we can find any strangers, but if we can't, then forget it. Xiaofan discovered that the entire city was filled with soldiers who were in full uniform, searching for unfamiliar faces. At the end of the streets, there were also many idlers who were searching everywhere. Oh! Immortals who are mingling in this city? And soldiers who are searching everywhere for strangers? Xiaofan rubbed his nose. Heh, things are getting interesting. In the next moment, Xiaofan stretched his muscles. I've been idle for more than a month. Now, it's finally time to get down to business. Heaven's Son, let the battle between us officially begin. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.